Chapter 1138. Little Hay had a mysterious power, especially the true Samadhi flame. It was an existence that surpassed the sacred flame. Even the sacred flame could not compare to it. Once touched, even a god would not be able to escape. How could the hidden flood dragon not be afraid? He originally wanted to snatch Yang Wu's dragon phoenix fruit, but now it could be said that he had shot himself in the foot. Yang Wu did not have a good impression of this flood dragon. He directly said to the flood dragon patriarch, "I won't trade for the dragon phoenix fruit. Little Hay, let's go." This time, the flood dragon patriarch was anxious. He stopped Yang Wu and Little Hay and said, "Yang Wu, medicine saint, don't be angry. The patriarch has not been involved in external affairs for a long time and does not know the situation. I will make the decision here. I will open the door to the treasury for you. Our flood dragon treasury has many treasures and will definitely satisfy you." The flood dragon patriarch did not say anything else. He took out a token and began to activate the giant bronze door. The door to the treasury slowly opened. Whoosh whoosh. Rays of sacred light shot out from the bronze door. It was so bright that it could blind a dog's eyes. Yang Wu was also shocked by this shocking aura. His eyes twitched. He could see through all obstacles and looked inside. When he saw the piles of treasures casually placed, he could not help but suck in a cold breath. Hiss, they are really rich. This huge treasury was filled with mountains of herbs and all kinds of stones. There were also many spiritual pearls and strange objects. The value of each item was astonishing. It was worthy of being the Flood Dragon clan's treasury. It was rumored that the true Dragon clan loved to collect all kinds of treasures. The Flood Dragon clan continued this hobby, and also created a treasury to collect all kinds of treasures. However, these spirit demons were not as careful as humans when it came to storing treasures. Many of the treasures were casually placed to the side. Many of the herbs were crushed and many of the spiritual objects lost their spirit chi as time passed. Some of the treasures were mixed together and corroded each other. What a waste of heavenly treasures! Yang Wu could not help but exclaim. They are all low-level items, but they are still useful to you, Little Hay said indifferently. Before the Jiao Dragon Patriarch could say anything, Little Hay had already run into the treasury. The Flood Dragon tribe leader said to Yang Wu, "Please, Medicine Saint Yang Wu, pick whatever you need." The dragon phoenix fruit was hard to come by in 100,000 years. Every single one was extremely important to them. If they couldn't get it, the other branches of the Jiao dragon would definitely be willing to pay a huge price to get it. Therefore, no matter what, he had to get the dragon phoenix fruit. "Aren't you not allowed to enter?" Yang Wu asked. Yes, the flood dragon said hurriedly. The old flood dragon refused to speak and had already slipped into the shadows. Everything was left to the flood dragon patriarch to deal with. Yang Wu walked in. The treasury hall was extremely spacious. It was as if he had entered a super palace. All kinds of materials were piled up like mountains. He casually glanced around and saw quite a number of saint-grade treasures. There were even more minor saint-grade treasures. 3,000-year-old blood corals. There must be at least several thousand of them. Just throwing them here will cause them to lose more than half of their medicinal properties. That's a 5,000-year-old flood dragon vine. It's such a pity that it's not intact. That's the water moon divine flower. I didn't expect to see it here. It's so beautiful. Yang Wu looked at the wasted herbs and felt his heart bleeding. If these herbs were all his, he could refine a large amount of pills and convert them into more valuable items. I can't let them waste like this. I should take the opportunity to exchange for more herbs. Yang Wu took a deep breath and began to choose what he needed. Yang Wu used 1 dragon phoenix fruit to exchange for 10 divine herbs and 3,000 saint herbs. He could choose the saint herbs, but he wouldn't leave the divine herbs here. Even though the flood dragon tribe was careless, they wouldn't be so careless. The divine herbs had their own spirit. Every single one of them could fly in the sky and burrow into the ground. They had to be sealed with the power of restrictions. Otherwise, they would escape. Yang Wu considered the most common pills for increasing strength, tempering the body, increasing speed, healing, and so on. He chose the saint herbs and small saint herbs. In the end, he realized that although there were many herbs here, there were only one type of herbs. For example, there were many blood corals, flood dragon vines, and some herbs in the water. There were only a few other types of herbs. However, when he thought about it, the flood dragon tribe didn't know much about these herbs. They collected these herbs based on their own interest. They weren't like Jiang Yi who needed to consider alchemy. After choosing a circle of herbs, he finally looked at the other materials. He saw a golden lightning stone. It was a high-grade lightning stone that could attract the mutated golden snake lightning. It was a stone for tempering the body, and it was also a saint herb for refining weapons. He also saw a dozen sealing beads. They were all inheritances left behind by the human race. They should have been killed by the flood dragon tribe, or they had accidentally obtained them. There was also a crystal full of cold air. The cold air it released was so cold that even he felt like he couldn't withstand it. Little Wu, you can take this golden lightning stone. You can also take the sealing beads here. They won't have anything left here anyway. Also, you can't miss out on the Ice Soul Holy Crystal. You can't let go of the Soul Whip either. Little Hay grabbed a top-grade saint herb and stuffed it into its mouth. It transmitted its voice to Yang Wu. Only Little Hay would eat saint herbs as if they were cabbages. Yang Wu was willing to accept Little Hay's opinion. It wasn't someone who was willing to suffer losses. Therefore, he waved his hand and took all the treasures. Although these things were precious, they were nothing in the eyes of the Flood Dragon tribe leader. Especially the things left behind by the human race. The Flood Dragon tribe didn't need them at all. It didn't matter if they gave them to Yang Wu as a gift. After Yang Wu picked one round, he finally got everything he needed. It was much more than he had imagined. At least, it was enough for him to use for a long time. It wouldn't be a problem for him to refine many pills. Among these saint items, the most precious one was the Soul Whip. His fighting soul was lacking a suitable weapon. The Soul Whip would undoubtedly solve his urgent need. Once he refined this soul weapon, the strength of his fighting soul would rise to another level. He couldn't use the demon race's soul weapon at all. He had to let Little Hay refine it again before he could use it. It was better to use this human race's soul weapon. After that, the Flood Dragon tribe leader brought them to a forbidden area behind the treasury. That was the place that the old Flood Dragon secretly guarded. It was also the place where the divine herbs were. The old Flood Dragon called Ao Zhou couldn't figure out Little Hay's origins and couldn't see through Little Hay's strength. It didn't dare to act rashly and obediently opened the forbidden area. There was a small herb garden there, emitting waves of divine aura. Anyone who stepped into this place would be able to feel the astonishing Xian Qi. Dozens of different divine herbs were planted here, filling this space. After reaching the Star Rune Realm, one could open up spatial restrictions. This small space was the restricted space that the Flood Dragon tribe had opened up. Little Hay's eyes shone brightly. It quickly rushed toward the divine herbs. Just as it was about to grab an old ginseng, the old ginseng rippled with divine power and bounced Little Hay away. The old ginseng quickly burrowed into the ground and disappeared without a trace. Little Hay was unwilling to give up. It charged toward another divine moonflower. The divine moonflower emitted waves of gentle energy that formed a light and blocked Little Hay. You divine herbs that have gained sentience, do you believe that I'll eat all of you in one bite? Little Hay said angrily. It wasn't that it didn't have the ability to eat these divine herbs. It just didn't want to unleash its power. That's a 10,000-year-old ginseng, right? It even gained a form. How miraculous! And that divine moonflower. It looks like a real moon. It's so beautiful. Is that a 9-leaf star in the corner? Yang Wu was almost drooling when he saw the divine herbs here. It wasn't that he had never seen divine herbs before. He had seen them in the Alchemist Alliance's Medicinal Academy. However, this was his first time seeing a living divine herb like this. It truly amazed him. He yearned to grow divine herbs like this one day. Each divine herb is extraordinarily valuable. If it weren't for the dragon phoenix fruit, my clan wouldn't be willing to use them, the Flood Dragon Patriarch said, his heart bleeding. Don't feel troubled, Flood Dragon Patriarch. Although the divine herbs here aren't bad, they're not as useful to you as the dragon phoenix fruit, Yang Wu said bluntly. The Flood Dragon Patriarch nodded slightly. He understood that Yang Wu was right. Although the divine herbs were good, they were useless if they couldn't help them break through to the demon god realm. Little He, you choose. Yang Wu let Little He make the decision. He trusted Little He's judgment. Naturally, Little He wouldn't stand on ceremony with Yang Wu. Quickly chose the 10 most precious divine herbs. The old flood dragon in the dark obediently plucked the 10 divine herbs and offered them up. Yang Wu also handed the 2 dragon phoenix fruits to the Flood Dragon Patriarch. He still had 6 dragon phoenix fruit. He had to make good use of them. He wondered if he should go to the other flood dragon tribes or the fire phoenix tribe to trade for 1 or 2. He desired large amounts of herbs. After some hesitation, he didn't do so. The dragon phoenix fruit was of great importance. He still had a great use for it. It could help the clan cultivate stronger saints or even demigods. Yang Wu once again returned to the main hall of the Flood Dragon Palace. He wasn't in a hurry to leave. The Flood Dragon tribe still had to prepare a batch of ordinary herbs and saint stones for him. Zhenlong, you can stay here and cultivate until you become a saint, Yang Wu said to Yang Zhenlong. After saying that, he handed a few pieces of dragon bone to Yang Zhenlong. These were divine true dragon bones. To Yang Zhenlong, it was enough for him to transform into a dragon. Father, don't worry. I will become stronger as soon as possible. I will be able to help you soon, Yang Zhenlong said solemnly. I will ask Uncle Little He to teach you a couple of dragon tribe mystiques and a body tempering technique. The next time we meet, you should be able to transform into a dragon. Yang Wu nodded and looked at Little He. Little He rolled its eyes. Woof, woof. Little Wu, do you really think I'm an all-purpose elixir? You can apply it wherever you need it. He's your nephew, Yang Wu said seriously. What does that have to do with me? I don't care if he lives or dies. He's your nephew. Say that again if you dare. I will fall out with you. He's your nephew. Chapter 1139. Little He had been tortured by Yang Wu, so it could only teach Yang Zhenlong a bit about the Dragon Clan's inheritance. It said unhappily, you can only obtain the Dragon Clan's inheritance after you awaken your bloodline talent. Now, I'm teaching you the blood tempering technique. It will completely eliminate your mixed blood. You only need to condense a drop of true dragon blood essence, and your bloodline will be constantly perfected. When it's completely transformed into true dragon blood, you will be able to obtain the power you want. Thank you, Uncle Little He, Yang Zhenlong said gratefully. He had seen how Little He could scare their clan leader. The blood tempering technique that Little He taught him was indeed very unique. He was confident that he could refine true dragon blood. After the Flood Dragon clan leader sent a pile of low-level herbs and 20 saint stones, Yang Wu bade farewell. There were still people waiting for him outside the Dragon Vein Phoenix Ridge. He did not want to stay for long. Yang Zhenlong stayed. As long as he did not become a saint, he was not allowed to look for Yang Wu. Yang Wu also hoped that he could become stronger. The strength of a lesser demon saint was really not enough. There were too many saints in the transcendent world. This time, Yang Wu also planned to find another type of mystic essence qi and enter the dragon transformation pool to improve his realm as soon as possible. He wanted to become the number 1 saint as soon as possible so that he would not be in fear all day long. I'll escort you. Otherwise, it won't be easy for you to leave this place, the Flood Dragon clan leader said. There were a few Flood Dragon clans here, as well as other Phoenix clans. They all yearned for the Dragon Phoenix fruit. Yang Wu was an invincible emperor, and the news soon spread everywhere. The fact that he had the Dragon Phoenix fruit could not be hidden. Many demon experts would definitely come to fight for it. As expected, when Yang Wu and Little He came out of the Flood Dragon clan, they felt the aura of a few powerful demon saints coming from afar. The Flood Dragon clan leader shouted, "Who dares to be impudent in my clan's territory?" The Flood Dragon clan leader transformed into his true form. A 3,000-foot-long blue flood dragon appeared here. His soaring demonic aura covered 100 miles. The demon saints in the dark instantly restrained their auras. They did not expect that the Water Dragon clan leader would personally escort Yang Wu out. They did not have the chance to snatch it. Fortunately, Yang Wu was not the only one who had obtained the Dragon Phoenix fruit. There were other creatures. They could only think of other creatures. It seems that there is no place is absolutely safe. Yang Wu sighed in his heart. Yang Wu jumped onto the golden-crowned eagle and left the Dragon Vein Phoenix Ridge with the silver-patterned tortoise. There were many medicinal herbs in this place. It was a land of treasures. Unfortunately, it had nothing to do with him. It was all part of the demonic race's territory. Only when he became an overlord would he have the confidence to seize everything. Hey! Bring it, Dragon Hey! Hey! It! Hey! The hay! Hey! It! The hay! Okay, thanks a lot. Yang Wu accepted it without any hesitation. Take care. You are welcome to visit our clan again, the Dragon clan leader said. He bowed to Little He and quickly disappeared. Let's go. Yang Wu was in a good mood. He sat cross-legged on the golden-crowned eagle and shouted. They sped up and rushed out of the Dragon Vein Phoenix Ridge. More than a year ago, they were still worried about passing through this mountain range. Now, he could freely enter and leave this place. What a fast change. Yang Wu and the others soon arrived outside the Dragon Vein Phoenix Ridge. Shouho, Luji, Yangba, and the others were waiting for him. Apart from them, the 7 heroes of Wudong were also there. They were very happy after Yang Wu's return. My lord, are we going back to the clan now? Yangba asked. Before Yang Wu could reply, Song Qing cupped his hands and said, Saint Master Yang Wu, you promised us that you would go to Wudong. You can't go back on your words. Yang Wu smiled and said, Don't worry. We are all going to Wudong as guests. I wonder if Master Song will welcome us? Of course, you are welcome. Haha. Song Qing was very happy. Therefore, Yang Wu first sent Liang Rulong back to the Yang family to inform the family that they would return a little later. Liang Rulong accepted the order and returned to the Yang clan alone. Qing Feng and white-haired Demonis naturally followed Yang Wu. The others also wanted to visit Wudong Mountain with Yang Wu. They were not in a hurry to go back. Yang Wu and the others rode on the Black Tortoise battleship and quickly headed towards Wudong. The Dragon Vein Phoenix Ridge was not too far away from Wudong Mountain. They only needed a few days to arrive. Wudong Mountain was located in the northern part of Hubei Province. It was an extremely famous Taoist holy land. Wudong Mountain was majestic and magnificent. The peak of the mountain pierced through the clouds. The white clouds were within reach. It was like entering an immortal palace. Many Wudong disciples lived in this peaceful place. At the foot of Wudong Mountain, many commoners could call themselves Wudong disciples. Wudong's spiritual master did not mind them practicing Wudong's Tai Chi and Tai Chi sword. Anyone who comprehended the Tai Chi concept could become an inner disciple or even a true disciple of Wudong. Wudong disciples did not care about talent. They only cared about character. No matter how good one's talent was, if one's character was not good, Wudong would not accept them as disciples. If one's character was good, even if they did not have talent, they could still call themselves a Wudong disciple. This was the biggest difference between Wudong and other sections. Wudong disciples were all chivalrous and righteous. It was precisely because of this that they were famous all over the world. When the Black Tortoise warship approached Wudong Mountain, everyone flew out of the warship. They were not allowed to fly directly to Wudong Mountain. This was a show of respect to everyone in Wudong Mountain. If anyone dared to fly directly to Wudong Mountain, it would be seen as a provocation by Wudong Mountain and would be expelled. Little Hay jumped on Yang Wu's shoulder and looked at Wudong Mountain. Its canine eyes shone brightly as it said, "Little Wu, you must stay here for a while. It will be very beneficial for you." "Is it beneficial to you, or is it beneficial to me?" Yang Wu asked rhetorically. Little Hay was too smart. It would definitely not do something that was strenuous and unrewarding. "My benefits are not your benefits," Little Hay replied. After a pause, it said, "Don't you practice Jinwu boxing? The will of Jinwu is here." "What?" Yang Wu was shocked. He had heard of Lord Black Tortoise, also known as Jinwu Great Emperor. It was a legendary figure, but he had never associated it with Jinwu boxing. "Feel it well. Your Yang family is related to Wudong Mountain," Little Hay said, keeping him in suspense. Yang Wu was stunned. He had been in the Transcendent Realm for a few years, and he had been in the Yang family for a long time, but he had never heard of any relationship between the Yang family and Wudong Mountain. If they were really related, why would the Yang family be forced into such a state by the Xing family? Yang Wu and the others disembarked from the warship and walked toward Wudong Mountain. Zhang Mingshan introduced Wudong Mountain to everyone. Wudong Mountain's main peak was the largest, and there were many smaller peaks surrounding it, forming a Taiji formation that could absorb the yin and yang energy of heaven and earth. It was also rumored that a Taiji diagram was suppressed here. It was a divine artifact left behind by the founder of Wudong Mountain. Anyone who could comprehend Taiji would be able to communicate with the Taiji diagram and obtain extraordinary power. It was also because of this that no power dared to harm Wudong Mountain. Even if Wudong Mountain did not have a Tongtian, no one would dare to invade. This was the source of Wudong Mountain's confidence. Lu Ji was born with a yin and yang body, and he was extremely sensitive to formations. As he walked, he could sense the intricate formation patterns here. He also felt a sense of familiarity, as if something was calling out to him. He muttered in his heart, "Why do I feel a little strange?" Yang Wu and the others climbed to the Jinwu Great Hall in front of the main peak. This was the main palace of Wudong Mountain, and it was also the place where Lord Black Tortoise was worshipped. The incense here was very strong, and smoke lingered in the air. In the middle of the Great Hall there was a spiritual pool. In the spiritual pool there was an old turtle, and its back was filled with various copper, silver, and gold coins. These were the masterpieces of the believers. Yang Wu looked at the old turtle's back and felt that it was a squatting stone turtle. However, Little Hay said telepathically, "Wow, such a divine turtle is squatting to guard the door. How extravagant." "Little Hay, isn't it a stone turtle?" Yang Wu asked. Yang Wu could not feel the vitality of this turtle, and felt that it was a fake turtle. Not only him, everyone here thought that it was a fake turtle, including the silver-patterned turtle. As a member of the turtle race, it also thought so. "Woof, woof, it's only in the state of turtle breathing. How can it be a stone turtle? An old turtle that has lived for more than 100,000 years. Not bad, not bad." Little Hay praised. Little Hay's standards were very high, but it was rare to see it praise other living creatures. Yang Wu remembered it in his heart, but he did not dare to say it out loud. Since this turtle demon was willing to stay here for so long, it was naturally not worried that others would discover its existence. He would not disturb it for no reason. Little Hay continued to talk to itself. "Accepting the power of the incense here, do you want to cultivate into an immortal turtle? Unfortunately, you're still a little short." Only Yang Wu could hear its voice, and no one else could. Yang Wu and the others followed the 7 heroes of Wu Dang into the true martial pavilion. When they saw the true martial divine elephant and the 7 perfected lords who had followed it, they all bowed and worshipped it. After Yang Wu finished his bow, he realized that the true martial divine elephant was sitting on a black tortoise. It held a war spear in its hand, and its round eyes were glaring angrily. It was unusually mighty, and it gave off a lifelike feeling. Yang Wu looked at the true martial divine elephant, and it seemed to be looking at him as well. A strange thought appeared in his mind, but he could not put his finger on it. "Big brother, this true martial divine elephant really looks like you," Sun Do said from the side. Yang Ba agreed, "It really does look a little like you." Yang Wu was shocked and quickly said, "Be careful with your words." He looked at the true martial divine elephant again, and felt that Sun Do and Yang Ba's words were true. This true martial divine elephant really did look a little like him, especially the war spear it held. It really did look like the double-edged 3-dragon spear that he held. If it sat on the silver-patterned turtle, it would look even more alike. "Maybe you're the reincarnation of the true martial divine elephant." Little Hei's voice sounded in Yang Wu's ear. "Don't talk nonsense, or you'll be punished by the heavens." Chapter 1140. Wudong Mountain was different from other forces. Their sect did not set up an internal or external training area. Within a radius of thousands of miles around Wudong Mountain, it was their training area. They did not set up any barriers to separate the disciples from the commoners. Many Wudong disciples would go down the mountain to help the commoners farm. They wore plain clothes and kept a low profile. All of them had entered the mortal world to cultivate. What they flattered was benevolence, righteousness, and chivalry. Everything they did was based on helping others. Martial arts was only for the sake of fitness. The pursuit of ultimate strength was only a secondary goal. Many Wudong disciples had a benevolent and righteous heart. This was also the reason why Wudong could repeatedly produce heavenly characters, because they focused on cultivating the heart and comprehending the Tao. Once they comprehended the Tao, they would be able to leap over the Dragon Gate and transcend the mortal world. For countless years, many Wudong disciples had mediocre aptitude and performance when they were young, but in their later years, they soared to the sky with extraordinary achievements. It was all because they were cultivating the heart and tempering the mortal world when they were young. Therefore, after they comprehended the Tao, they accumulated a lot of experience and had amazing achievements. Yang Wu and his party, except for Yang Wu and Lu Ji, were arranged to rest in the guest room in the side hall. There were also Wudong disciples who could take them to tour Wudong Mountain at any time. Yang Wu and Lu Ji followed Song Qing to the back of the mountain to pay a visit to the Wudong sect leader. The back of the mountain was an ordinary mountain ridge. There were no towering ancient trees, no old rocks, and no waterfalls falling from the sky. There was only a 10,000-year-old pine tree coiled on the edge of the cliff, standing in the wind. Not far away there were a few ordinary houses. In front of each house there was a field, planted with some ordinary vegetables and fruit. It was like the home of an old farmer in the mountains. There were a few middle-aged men wearing plain clothes, holding tillage tools, weeding and plowing the fields. They were also humming a loud song. The loud and clear voice echoed in the mountains, showing a heroic spirit. Sect leader, Saint Master Yang Wu is here. After Song Qing brought Yang Wu and Lu Ji here, he bowed and saluted. A middle-aged man with delicate features and a scholarly temperament put aside the hoe in his hand and looked over with a smile. Esteemed guests have arrived. It's my fault for not being able to come in person. This middle-aged man's smile was amiable and his words were polite, which really made people have a good impression of him. He was the Wudong sect's spiritual master. The people around him were all Wudong saint elders. Every one of them was an expert who had returned to their natural state. It was difficult to detect the movement of their mystical qi. They seemed to be farmers in the mountains. They all cupped their fists and bowed to Yang Wu. Their faces were amiable, and they did not have the slightest arrogance of a saint. Yang Wu couldn't help but marvel in his heart. Wu-Tang is indeed a place of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. These people's strength is hidden very well. If it were outside, I'm afraid they wouldn't be treated as saints. Yang Wu and Lu Ji returned the greeting, not daring to show the slightest bit of neglect. Two young heroes, please take a seat. Quickly serve us some tea. The Wudong sect's spiritual master gestured with his hand. A round table and a few round chairs appeared on the ground. There was also a tea set placed on the table. He invited Yang Wu and Lu Ji to take a seat. Thank you, spiritual master, Yang Wu responded and sat down. Lu Ji stood beside Yang Wu and did not take a seat. He always remembered that there was a difference between seniors and juniors. Saint Master Yang Wu, you are Wu-Tang's benefactor, the Wudong sect's spiritual master said gratefully. You're too polite, spiritual master. It was a small matter, Yang Wu responded. It may be a small matter to you, but to this old man, it is a big matter. Thank you, Saint Master Yang Wu, for returning my son's bones. Not far away, a white-haired old man walked over and said with a trace of sadness, Old sect leader. The Wudong Saint elders stood up and bowed. This was Wudong sect's previous spiritual master Zhang. He was also Zhang An's father. The previous spiritual master had a son at an old age, but unfortunately, he died early. He was too sad and voluntarily abdicated his position. Only then did the current spiritual master take the position. Old sect leader is too serious. Brother Zhang and should be buried in peace. Yang Wu stood up and responded. He then said, compared to the seniors of Wu-Tang, and the other senior brothers and junior brothers, I am ashamed of my inferiority. In the eyes of others, Wu-Tang's chivalry was a matter of course. But in Yang Wu's eyes, it was really amazing that they could continue to do so. At least, he could not do it. When he brought Zhang An's bones back, it was indeed a small matter. He did not think too much about it. No matter what, I must repay Saint Master Yang Wu. The previous spiritual master Zhang said. Yang Wu wanted to decline, but seeing the other party's determined eyes, he changed his mind and said, If old sect leader must repay, then please teach this brother of mine. He was born with the yin-yang combat body, and has an affinity with Wu-Tang. I heard Brother Song Qing say that he is very suitable to cultivate the Tao of Tai Chi. Yin-yang combat body. The Wudong Saint elders all showed expressions of excitement. Lu Ji was betrayed by Yang Wu. He said with a drooping face, My lord, how can you do this? Before Lu Ji could react, the previous spiritual master Zhang had already pinched Lu Ji's arm. Lu Ji could not help but circulate his profound qi, and the yin and yang qi appeared on his body. It really is the yin-yang combat body. The heavens are really protecting Wu-Tang. The previous spiritual master Zhang exclaimed. The other Wudong Saint elders nodded in agreement. The Tao of Tai Chi was something that everyone could learn, but not everyone could cultivate it to perfection. For 10,000 years, Wu-Tang had not been able to find a successor with the yin-yang combat body. Even the Supreme Protector was worried for Wu-Tang. Lu Ji delivering himself to their doorstep was like sending charcoal in snowy weather. Beautiful military advisor, you should stay in Wu-Tang and learn well. Your foundation is still a bit weak. Yang Wu said to Lu Ji with a smile. After a pause, he added, Don't worry, I will let Lu stay and accompany you. Lu Ji heard Yang Wu's last sentence and reluctantly said, Okay, my lord, you can't lie to me. This matter is of great importance. I must ask the Supreme Protector to make the decision. The previous spiritual master Zhang said. The Wudong sect leader nodded and said, Of course. Then he looked at Yang Wu and said, Saint Master Yang Wu, you can rest in Wu-Tang for a while. Let us be the host. That's what I was thinking. Yang Wu agreed. Yang Wu liked the atmosphere of Wu-Tang very much. When he came here, his whole heart returned to normal. all his worries were thrown to the back of his mind. His state of mind was very relaxed. He really wanted to stay here for a while. It was a good time to get rid of the hostility and killing intent that he brought out from the Dragon Phoenix Abyss. Moreover, the new martial arts that he cultivated felt very similar to Wu-Tang's Tai Chi martial art. Perhaps he could learn from the two. Saint Master Yang Wu, take this jade tube. If you need my help in the future, don't hesitate to call me. No matter how far it is, I will be there as soon as possible. The previous sect master, Reverend Zhang, handed a jade tube to Yang Wu. This old spiritual master's strength was extraordinary. He was not inferior to Great Fortune Mo. In fact, he was even stronger. His jade tube was extraordinary. Yang Wu did not refuse and carefully put away the jade tube. If he did not accept the jade tube, this old spiritual master would probably think that he was looking down on him. Yang Wu and Lu Ji accompanied the sacred elders to drink tea and chat about the world. They also talked about how Yang Wu became the invincible emperor and fought for the supreme glory for the human race. They also talked about some of the Tao of alchemy. There was something unique about Wu-Tang's Tao of alchemy. Not long after, a saint walked over and said to the previous spiritual master and the current spiritual master, "The Supreme Guardian has allowed us to bring him over. Leave this matter to me." The previous spiritual master took the initiative to take over this matter and brought Lu Ji to see the Supreme Guardian. The Supreme Guardian was a sect leader of Wu-Tang. With him around, no one dared to underestimate Wu-Tang. In the past, many heavenly masters of Wu-Tang had fallen, and the new generation had not been able to replace them. It was Wu-Tang's most declining era. There were evil people who wanted to destroy Wu-Tang. Among them, there were many heavenly masters who came, but they were all killed by the Supreme Guardian. This Supreme Guardian was one of the strongest in the transcendent world. Some people even rated him as one of the top 3. He was an existence that surpassed the heavenly masters. Whether this was the truth or not many people knew. If Lu Ji was taught by the Supreme Guardian, his future would be limitless. Lu Ji was taken away, and Yang Wu continued to discuss the Tao with the saints. Not only did they discuss the Tao of alchemy, but also the Tao of Tai Chi. Yang Wu had black and white Qi. It was very similar to the Yin and Yang Qi of the Tao of Tai Chi. However, there was an essential difference. He was especially eager to know what kind of martial Tao he had. Through the discussion, Yang Wu completely understood that his Tao was not the Tao of Tai Chi, it was closer to the legendary reincarnation martial Tao. The reincarnation martial Tao was one of the supreme martial Taos. It was on par with the Tao of time, Tao of life, Tao of the void, and so on. The reincarnation martial Tao was to go from life to death, and from death to rebirth, entering the Tao of reincarnation. It could make life quickly enter the state of death, and also rejuvenate life. Its characteristics were very similar to his black and white immortal lotus. The only difference was that he could absorb the god's Tung Qi. He could devour the vitality of others and feed it back to himself. It was similar to the Tao of devouring. Yang Wu struggled for a long time, but he still could not figure it out. He might as well not think about it anymore and let nature take its course. Yang Wu returned to the side hall. Song Qing and the other 6 heroes received Yang Wu and his group. It was not that the sect leader of Wu-Tang was not willing to receive Yang Wu, but that Yang Wu did not want them to be so polite. Moreover, there were other people present. If the sect leader of Wu-Tang and the others came to receive them, the others would not sit so naturally. It was best for the young people to interact freely. The forbidden area of the back mountain of Wu-Tang was the place where the Supreme Guardian went into seclusion. After Lu Ji was sent here, he saw a white-haired young man with a delicate face sizing him up. "Supreme Guardian, he is Lu Ji." The previous sect leader bowed in front of the young man. Lu Ji was instantly stunned. This white-haired young man was the Supreme Guardian of Wu-Tang? The white-haired young man's eyes moved, and 2 different rays of light fell on Lu Ji's body. Lu Ji felt that his entire body was seen through. He could not help but cover his lower body and said, "Don't mess around, please look. What's there to look at with that little thing?" Hey, who's little? You're majestic. I really can't tell. You're still a virgin, right? You've maintained yourself quite well. I'm not going to learn from you. Chapter 1141. Wudong Mountain was as peaceful as a village. The people here worked at sunrise and rested at sunset. There were very few disputes between the peddlers and the common people. Everyone lived in peace and worked in peace, cultivating in peace and quiet. Yang Wu had been here for 7 days. He brought Little Man to the market at the foot of Wudong Mountain every day. Looking at the commoners living peacefully, his heart was at peace. Yu had already returned to Purple Firmament Hall. Meng Bingxue had also returned to Kunlun. Shu Yujun had also returned to Mount Heng. Yang Karen had returned to 100 Flower Order. Even though they wanted to stay with him, they had to return to report. They couldn't stay by his side for long. Meng Bingxue originally didn't want to return to Kunlun. Kuan Mingzi had a high status in Kunlun. She would still be targeted if she returned. In the end, she decided to return. She wanted to use the sex resources to quickly increase her strength. She wanted to break through to the Star Rune Realm earlier than Kuan Mingzi and restrict Kuan Mingzi. She couldn't let him become the next sect master of Kunlun. If he was allowed to grow, not only her, but even Yang Wu would be targeted. She didn't want to see such an outcome. She didn't want to rely on Yang Wu for survival. As for Shu Yujun, she had entered the top 100 of the Heavenly Phoenix ranking. She would be able to evolve the Sacred Pond in a year. At that time, she would meet Yang Wu again. Currently, they still needed to increase their strength. Yang Karen had returned to 100 Flower Order with Shi Wenmei before the Dragon Phoenix Abyss. Pan Xiaoxin had died in the Dragon Phoenix Abyss. They weren't in a good mood. Even though they had always opposed Pan Xiaoxin had died to save them. They wanted to send her ashes back to 100 Flower Order. Only Xiao Mang could stay by Yang Wu's side regardless of everything. Furthermore, Yang Wu had promised Xiao Mang that he would accompany her to the Sacred Flame Divine Sect. Little Man was extremely happy to be able to accompany Yang Wu every day. She was in a good mood. This was her happiest day in many years. She would treasure it in her heart forever. As for the other members of the Yang family, Yang Wu chased them back to the family to report on their mission. Only Qing Feng, White-Haired Demoness, Sun Do, Yang Ba, Su Zhu, Silver-Patterned Turtle, Golden-Crowned Eagle, and a group of his direct followers were left by his side. They all stayed in Wudong to cultivate day and night. Only the Little Man accompanied him to stroll around. Little Black, on the other hand, was nowhere to be found. Yang Wu couldn't care less about Little He. He just hoped that she wouldn't cause any trouble. 3 days ago, Lu Ji successfully became a Wudong disciple. Moreover, his status was extremely high. He was of the same generation as the previous sect leader. Even the current sect leader had to call him Martial Uncle Lu. Song Qing and the others had to call him Great Martial Uncle. His seniority was frighteningly high. There was no other way. He had already been taken in as the last disciple of the Grand Guardian. He was destined to have a unique position in Wudang. Yang Wu was happy for Lu Ji. Wudong's Tai Chi Dao was suitable for Lu Ji. His yin-yang combat body cultivation talent would definitely be maximized. In addition, there was another reason why Lu Ji was willing to stay. That was, Wudong's formation Dao was also extraordinary among the major forces. Lu Ji was obsessed with formation Dao. Naturally, he was willing to stay in Wudong. Yang Wu fulfilled his promise and let Yang Lulu stay. Yang Lulu's heart was tied to Lu Ji. She was 10,000 times willing to stay. After arranging these things, Yang Wu was able to enjoy a few days of peace and comfort. In the Dragon Phoenix Abyss, he and the Little Man were too tired from cultivating every day. Now was the time to relax and cultivate. Only then could he achieve a balance between work and rest and improve his realm. After a few days, his state of mind calmed down a lot. All of his celestial chi was restrained, and there was a hint of returning to his original state. On this day, he brought the little man for a stroll in the city at the foot of Wudong. "Young master, look at the little clay figurine that person made. It's so beautiful." The little man pointed in a direction and said, "It's quite beautiful. I'll ask him to make one for the two of us." Yang Wu said with a smile, Okay, I'll definitely keep it well." The little man revealed a happy smile. She felt that she was the luckiest servant girl in the world. Which young master in the world would treat his servant girl so well? Yang Wu really did ask the stall owner to make a pair of clay figurines for the two of them. Yang Wu looked at the stall owner who was skillful in making the clay figurines. His heart was inexplicably moved. He realized that the stall owner's hands seemed to be imbued with divine power. Every movement was smooth and natural. There was not a trace of unnecessary movement. The placement of every finger was just right. He could not help but ask, "Boss, how long have you been doing this business? You're really fast and good at making them." "I'm afraid it's been 30 years. It's a skill passed down from my ancestors. I make them every day. Naturally, I'm familiar with them," the stall owner replied. "You make them every day? Practice makes perfect?" Yang Wu asked in his heart. At this moment, he seemed to understand a principle. His martial arts cultivation seemed to be the same, wasn't it? Now, he had mastered all kinds of combat skills and method. However, there were not many that had truly entered the path. Even if they had entered the path, they had only touched the surface of the path. They had not truly entered the room. Everything was because he did not have enough time to cultivate. What he lacked was this skillful accumulation of time. After thinking this through, Yang Wu was in a good mood. Next, he knew how to continue cultivating. One's realm could be polished to perfection. It was the same for combat skills. Once it reached the peak, it would produce a concept. After the concept, one would be able to achieve the path. Yang Wu bought the clay figurines and gave them to the little man. The little man acted as if she had received a divine object. She carefully placed them into a jade box and stored them away. The clay figurines were only made of ordinary clay, but the jade box was made of sacred jade. She was probably the only person to use a sacred jade box to store clay figurines. Yang Wu and the little man bought some snacks and then returned to Mount Wudong. After nightfall, Yang Wu began to cultivate his clan's combat skills. The Dragon Rebel Spear art was a combat skill passed down in his clan that could support him in comprehending spear intent. In the future, I'll cultivate the spear, sword, and fist techniques thousands of times. Yang Wu set a goal in his heart. He did not circulate his profound qi. Instead, he held the spear and cultivated the spear art over and over again. Some of his doppelgangers cultivated the stellar sword art, some cultivated the 1,000 transformation fist, and some cultivated the overbearing divine palm. The black tortoise doppelgangers allowed him to condense 9 doppelgangers. Including his true body, he had a total of 10 doppelgangers. Now, he had created 5 doppelgangers that cultivated different combat skills. Such a cultivation method was truly amazing. The doppelgangers contained his will. Only when he reached the war soul level could he create so many doppelgangers. If it were other members of the Yang family, even if they reached the black tortoise doppelgangers' bloodline, they would not be able to do it like him. With his strength, the more doppelgangers he had, the shorter the time he could sustain them. The fewer doppelgangers he had, the longer the time he could sustain them. For example, if he had 9 doppelgangers, he could sustain them for 15 minutes. If he had 7 doppelgangers, he could sustain them for 15 minutes. If he had 5 doppelgangers, he could sustain them for 15 minutes. If he had 3 doppelgangers, he could sustain them for an hour. Every time he created a doppelganger, he would need to rest for another hour or even 2 hours to recover before he could use it again. If he used up too much of his strength, he would not be able to create doppelgangers. Now, Yang Wu was only cultivating his combat skills. He did not use his celestial qi. If he had 5 doppelgangers, he could sustain them for at least twice as long, which was the time it took to brew a cup of tea. With his current strength, this time was enough for him to cultivate his combat skills more than 1,000 times. One of his doppelgangers was cultivating the Tai Chi Fist. The Tai Chi Fist was a technique that everyone in Wudang could learn. Even the commoners could learn it. This technique could strengthen the body and prolong one's life. The legendary figure of Wudang created this technique and entered the Tao, becoming a supreme immortal. Yang Wu had been cultivating the Tai Chi Fist for the past few days in Wudang. He wanted to use the will of the Tai Chi Fist to train his Black White Lotus and completely comprehend his own martial art. For the past few days, he had been unable to grasp the technique. He could not even reach the state of subtlety in his fist technique. This made him wonder if the Tai Chi Fist was not suitable for him to cultivate. Today, when he met the clay figurine stall owner, he finally understood what was going on. Any combat skill was like any other skill. Practice makes perfect. He had practiced too little. He had to practice at least tens of thousands of times and completely integrate the fist techniques into every part of his body before he could understand the true meaning of the Tai Chi Fist. He practiced without stopping until his doppelgangers disappeared. He was still practicing with his real body. The way of the Tai Chi was to embrace Yin and guard Yang. Solitary Yin did not grow, solitary Yang did not grow. Moving like a rabbit, quiet like a virgin. Hardness and gentleness combined, the simple and easy principles of the Tai Chi Fist kept appearing in Yang Wu's mind. His movements slowly turned from stiff to gentle. Moreover, his movements went from fast to slow. It felt like a trickle of water. Little Man, who had been guarding by Yang Wu's side, watched as she dozed off. Unknowingly, Yang Wu practiced until dawn. Leaves gathered around him and danced with his movements. Little He, who had returned at some point, saw the cultivating Yang Wu and exclaimed in her heart, "He has entered the realm of oneness of heaven and man. Not bad, not bad. There is a hint of the Tai Chi. This is indeed his paradise." Not long after, a white-haired youth quietly appeared. He stood on the roof as if he had merged with heaven and earth. If one did not pay attention, one would not be able to detect his presence. The white-haired youth's eyes revealed a light that did not match his appearance. He has entered the realm of the Tai Chi Fist. How long has it been since someone like this appeared in Wudong? Not bad. There were countless disciples on Wudong Mountain. Regardless of whether they were monks or those who had returned to the secular world, all of them practiced the Tai Chi Fist. However, 99% of them only had the form and could not enter the Tao. Who would have thought that a youth who had only been on Wudong Mountain for a few days would be able to enter the Tao in one day? A strange phenomenon appeared on Wudong Mountain. The morning sun shone on the earth, and the setting moon hung in the sky. The sun and the moon were in the sky. Yin and Yang intersected. This was the Tai Chi Fist. A drop of morning dew quietly fell from the tree leaf and dripped onto Yang Wu's chest, who was hugging the moon and guarding the sun. It was abruptly flung out by that extremely slow arm. Poof! The morning dew pierced a small hole in the wall of the stone courtyard. The morning dew continued to hit the trunk of an old tree outside the courtyard. The tree trunk was pierced, and the 10 or so old trees behind it were all pierced by this drop of morning dew. In the end, the morning dew quietly fell on a blade of grass, and still did not disperse. Dripping water penetrates stone. Chapter 1142. Tai Chi cultivates the mind and refines the body. With the human body as the universe, the sea contains hundreds of rivers, the moon and the sun, deducing the heaven and earth, and unearthing the body's potential. No wonder everyone can cultivate the Tao of Tai Chi. Yang Wu couldn't help but murmur after comprehending the Tao of Tai Chi now. He understood the Tao of Tai Chi, but it didn't mean that he had successfully cultivated the Tao of Tai Chi. He only understood a little and understood the simple principles of Tai Chi. He had to cultivate day and night before he could truly comprehend the Tao of Tai Chi. Moreover, he didn't have a yin and yang body, so he would never be able to cultivate the Tao of Tai Chi to the realm of great success. Fortunately, the great Tao was interconnected. He had comprehended the Tao of Tai Chi, which was very beneficial to his cultivation. When he cultivated other martial arts, he could compare them with each other and accelerate his comprehension of other martial arts, especially his new martial arts. Yang Wu once again practiced Tai Chi. He found that the fist technique he practiced was different from the original Tai Chi. Whether it was the movements or the essentials, it seemed to be more casual. He didn't feel the slightest discomfort. He even felt that this kind of fist technique was more in line with his state of mind. Why is it like this? Yang Wu stopped and asked himself after practicing a set of Tai Chi. Ordinary Wudang disciples practiced the same Tai Chi. Why did he practice a different Tai Chi after comprehending the Tao of Tai Chi? Because you have already entered the basics of the Tao of Tai Chi. The Tao of Tai Chi is born from the heart. The Tao of Tai Chi in everyone's heart is different. Thus, your Tao of Tai Chi will also be different from others. An old voice rang out beside Yang Wu's ear. Tai Chi is born from the heart? I see. Yang Wu was slightly stunned and understood the truth. He then looked in a direction and saw a white-haired youth sitting on the roof. If one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't notice his existence. You are. Yang Wu couldn't see through the youth's depth. He only felt that the other party was extraordinary, but he couldn't tell what was so extraordinary about him. Don't worry about who I am. Let's exchange a few moves first. The white-haired youth responded and his figure appeared beside Yang Wu. Even Yang Wu couldn't see how the other party moved. Immediately after, the other party struck a Tai Chi starting pose and got into a very standard horse stance, fully displaying the style of a grandmaster. Yang Wu also wanted to test his own Tai Chi Tao, so he replied, "All right, let's do it." He stretched out his arm and placed it on his opponent's arm. Before he could say anything, a powerful force pushed him back a dozen steps. Your reaction is too slow. Again. The white-haired youth said. All right, I'm here. Yang Wu did not mind that the other party had made the first move. It was true that his reaction was slow, the other party had not used his profound energy. Yang Wu walked over quickly and waved his Taiji fist slowly. This punch seemed to be very slow, but in the blink of an eye, it arrived at the white-haired youth's chest. The fist landed unceremoniously on the other party's chest. Yang Wu's punch didn't have any profound energy, but the strength was not small. He was a little worried that the other party wouldn't be able to withstand it. However, when his fist landed, he discovered that it was as if he had punched a cotton flower, and the force of his fist actually had no place to land. Before he could react, an extremely powerful rebound force was produced, and it shook him to the point that he retreated more than 10 steps. You won't be able to win by being distracted like this. Do your best. The white-haired youth calmly said. All right again. Yang Wu responded and completely let go of his hands and feet to exchange blows with the other party. 1 punch, 2 punches, 3 punches. Not enough. Your fist is too slow. Is this like Tai Chi? It's not strong enough, and it's too soft. How can you borrow strength to fight strength? Tai Chi is divided into yin and yang. Yin and yang are balanced, and hardness and softness combine. These are all correct, but you forgot that it is impermanent. Yang Wu and the white-haired youth continuously exchanged blows. In the beginning, Yang Wu was constantly pushed away by the white-haired youth. Time and time again, Yang Wu couldn't even touch the other party's skin. Yang Wu then discovered that the other party's understanding of the way of Tai Chi was too deep. It wasn't something that he could compare to when he had just comprehended it. Fortunately, the white-haired youth was extremely patient. As he exchanged blows with Yang Wu, he also gave him pointers. Gradually, Yang Wu was able to stand firmly in front of the white-haired youth. Both of them continuously massaged each other. Yang Wu once again entered a state of enlightenment. The way of Tai Chi was a combination of yin and yang. It also contained a myriad of changes. It was not a Tao that was unchanging. Instead, it was a Tao that was constantly changing. It was like the rising and setting of the sun and the rising of the moon, constantly alternating. The changes were extremely fast. Tai Chi entered a state of no moves. No matter how one attacked, it was always correct. It was completely different from other battle technique. Unknowingly, Yang Wu and the white-haired youth exchanged blows until night, and then from night to the next day. The movements of the two of them became slower and slower. However, the force behind their movements became stronger and stronger. It was as if the heavens and the earth were affected. The fallen leaves in the surrounding courtyard constantly fluttered in the air, unable to fall down for a long time. Little Hay, who was in the corner, also became spirited. It thought to itself, "I didn't expect there to be such a capable person. His aptitude isn't bad either. If he has the opportunity, he might be able to take that step." As expected of the place where Master once stayed. Outside Yang Wu's courtyard, Song Qing and Zhang Mingshan had already arrived. They didn't step into the courtyard. They had been watching from outside. They couldn't help but be fascinated. They had also been practicing Tai Chi since they were young. However, they had never grasped the main points of Tai Chi. There was no way for them to comprehend the way of Tai Chi. They could only explore other martial arts that belonged to them. Now they saw with their own eyes that Yang Wu had comprehended the way of Tai Chi. He even exchanged blows with their supreme guardian. This level of comprehension was just too amazing. Yang Wu was pushed away by the white-haired youth once again. However, this time, he retreated as light as a swallow. He didn't look like he was in a sorry state at all. "All right, this time you've truly entered the way of Tai Chi. It's really not bad," the white-haired youth said with a satisfied smile. Yang Wu cupped his hands at the white-haired youth and said, "Thank you for your guidance, senior." Yang Wu still couldn't figure out the white-haired youth's identity, but it didn't stop him from respecting him. The white-haired youth's strength was definitely above his, and his status in the Wu-Tang sect was definitely not ordinary. "I can't say that I'm teaching you, but I'm itching to spar with you. For so many years, very few people in the Wu-Tang sect have been able to comprehend the way of Tai Chi overnight. You can do it in just a few days. Your comprehension is really good. If you have the yin-yang combat body like Lu Ji, it would be even more perfect," the white-haired youth said with emotion. The Wu-Tang sect had been around for so many years. Although there were several precedents of people comprehending the way of Tai Chi overnight, those were all after countless days and nights of cultivation. Yang Wu had only been in the Wu-Tang sect for a few days, and he had already comprehended the way of Tai Chi. He was definitely the first person to do so. Yang Wu smiled and said, "Lu Ji is indeed one in a million. I'm happy for him that he can become a disciple of the Wu-Tang sect. Thank you for your guidance, senior." The white-haired youth smiled and said to Song Qing and Zhang Mingshan outside the courtyard, "You two have been watching for so long. Come in too." "It's the Supreme Guardian," the two responded in unison and walked in from outside the courtyard. "The Supreme Guardian?" Yang Wu was shocked. The Supreme Guardian was definitely the existence of the heaven-reaching realm. The other party actually came out to spar with him? "Don't look at me like that. I've only lived a little longer." The white-haired youth waved his hand at Yang Wu. Then he looked at Song Qing and Zhang Mingshan and said, "You two have been watching for so long. What have you learned?" Song Qing respectfully said, "The Supreme Guardian, Song Qing, has learned a little." "Then tell me." "In the past, when I practiced the Tai Chi Dao, I focused too much on the traces and less on the changes, so I have been unable to enter the threshold. In the future, I will definitely be more flexible and changeable. I believe that I will definitely be able to see the Tai Chi Dao." "Your headmaster has already told you these things. What kind of learning is this? Mingshan, tell me. The earth Xian Qi that I cultivate is more than stable, but not changeable. This aspect needs to be strengthened. In addition, the earth Xian Qi can be both hard and soft. For example, the hard mountain rock represents the hard side, and the mud flow represents the soft side. If I study this aspect in the future, I should be able to form my own Tao. I have touched on the surface of the truth. The Tai Chi Tao is all-encompassing and changeable. You have been cultivating since you were young, so the Tai Chi Tao is imprinted in your heart. How to change, you can refer to your heart. The Tai Chi Tao is just a way for you to verify your Tao. The white-haired youth said with his hands behind his back. Then he said to Yang Wu, I heard that you are already a top-level alchemist. How about we talk about alchemy? Song Qing and Zhang Mingshan were shocked. Their supreme guardian's divine power was amazing, and his alchemy was extraordinary. He was a divine alchemist, and he actually took the initiative to invite Yang Wu to talk about alchemy? Yang Wu said without hesitation, Of course. Follow me. The white-haired youth said. He rolled up his sleeves and quickly left with Yang Wu. Soon, they appeared in the forbidden area of the back mountain of Wudong. There was an old cauldron here. The cauldron still had the smell of medicine. It was obviously the smell accumulated from years of alchemy. I have been in seclusion here all year round, and I don't have anything good to entertain you. Let's have a chat, the white-haired youth said and waved his hand. A tea set was placed on the jade table, and there were 2 dark green jade chairs beside it. Yang Wu was attracted by the jade table and chairs. He couldn't help but exclaim, Jade Emperor's essence. Yang Wu had killed people from the Jade Emperor clan. The jade table and chairs in front of him were of the same quality as the bodies of the Jade Emperor clan. It's just some leftover material from the Jade Emperor clan, the white-haired youth said casually. Then, he began to warm the tea and boil it. Waves of intoxicating tea fragrance filled the mountain peak. Heart-nourishing tea. When Yang Wu saw the tea leaves, he was shocked again. He had only obtained a little bit of heart-nourishing tea in the alchemy department. It was left behind by Xianyuan Badeo. He didn't expect the supreme guardian of Wudong to have it too. Moreover, there seemed to be a lot of it. The white-haired youth shook his head and said, This isn't heart-nourishing tea. It's enlightenment tea. What? Yang Wu lost his composure even more. Heart-nourishing tea was a top-grade holy tea. It could help people calm down and easily enter a state of enlightenment. Enlightenment tea was of a higher grade than heart-nourishing tea. It was a true divine tea. No matter who drank it, they could directly comprehend the Tao. As soon as the white-haired youth finished boiling the tea, Yang Wu couldn't wait to drink it. Then, he comprehended the Tao again. Chapter 1143. Yang Wu was comprehending Pil Tao this time. Ever since the last time he comprehended Tao at the Alchemist Union, he hadn't entered the state of Pil Tao comprehension. After drinking a cup of tea, he entered this state. His eyes were closed, and his soul was out of his body discussing Tao with another divine alchemist. That white-haired divine apothecary was extremely proficient in medicinal theory. From the ordinary herbs to the divine herbs, he had an incomparable understanding of every single one of them. He was always able to find the simplest way to concoct every single one of them. Yang Wu had the knowledge of alchemy from Little Hay, and the Alchemist Union's pill recipes automatically chose him. His knowledge of alchemy wasn't inferior to any other divine alchemist. He discussed alchemy non-stop with the other, and a petal of the divine court Tao flower was imprinting his gains. Alchemy was different from martial Tao. The latter required constant cultivation to tap into one's potential, break through the shackles, and comprehend heaven and earth. Only then would one have a chance to comprehend martial Tao. The former required the accumulation of alchemy knowledge. After reaching a certain level, everything would flow smoothly without any shortcut. Yang Wu spent less time on alchemy than on martial Tao, but he could constantly grow stronger and even become a top-notch divine alchemist. This was all because of his divine court Tao flower and his cultivation of the Soul Control Sutra. Only the most monstrous of geniuses had the chance to form the divine court Tao flower. Forming the divine court Tao flower was crucial to one's comprehension of Tao. The Soul Control Sutra could strengthen one's soul force, which represented the strength of one's spiritual force. The stronger one's spiritual force, the more advantageous it would be for alchemy. It was precisely because of this that he could achieve extraordinary results on the path of alchemy. This time, he entered the state of Tao comprehension and had someone to discuss Tao with. He had gained a lot. Little Hay had imparted to him a vast amount of alchemy knowledge, but it didn't mean he could use it all. It was especially difficult to take the step of becoming a divine alchemist. Many alchemists needed to increase their cultivation before their level of alchemy could catch up. He hadn't entered the Star Rune realm yet, let alone the Jade Moon realm. He was still very far from becoming a divine alchemist. A top-notch divine alchemist was only one realm away from becoming a divine alchemist, but not everyone could take this step. Since ancient times, it was unknown how many talented alchemists had been stuck at this bottleneck. It was very important for Yang Wu to discuss the Tao with this divine apothecary. The other party was already standing at an even higher realm. Every word he said was filled with wisdom, allowing him to be enlightened. Yang Wu's soul continued to meditate. He started from the lowest grade of Healing Pill, then slowly moved on to King Pill, Heaven Pill. He reorganized the flaws of each grade and gained a deeper understanding of alchemy. After an unknown amount of time, Yang Wu finally came back to his senses. He found that he was still holding the teacup, and he didn't know how long he had been in this position. He realized that the white-haired youth opposite him was brewing tea. His movements were smooth and elegant, and he did not care about his rudeness at all. "Senior, how long has it been?" Yang Wu asked. "A cup of tea's time," the white-haired youth said with a smile. Then, he poured another cup of tea for Yang Wu and said, "Come, have another cup. Let's talk about alchemy instead. We've already discussed it." Yang Wu was completely stunned. Could it be that when he entered the state of enlightenment, the other party followed him? But even if two people were comprehending the Tao at the same time, it was impossible for them to enter the same realm. Don't think too much. Enlightenment tea is called divine tea, and it has some special characteristic. I invited you to discuss the Tao because I want to enter the state of enlightenment together. Your vast knowledge of pill recipes is very useful to me. Maybe I can walk very far on the path of a divine apothecary. It seems like inviting you to drink a cup of tea was the right choice. The white-haired youth took the initiative to explain. Yang Wu cupped his hands towards the white-haired youth and said, "Thank you, Senior, for your help. This is your opportunity. Tomorrow, you can enter my black tortoise sword pool to gain some enlightenment," the white-haired youth said. The black tortoise sword pool was one of Wu Dang's forbidden grounds. Every Wu Dang direct disciple only had one chance to enter the black tortoise sword pool in their lifetime. Yang Wu was not a Wu Dang disciple, but he also had the opportunity to enter the black tortoise sword pool. Yang Wu did not know how to express the joy in his heart. Even though he did not cultivate the way of the sword, he had sword intent. He was only a step away from the way of the sword. If he entered the black tortoise sword pool, maybe he could really condense the way of the sword. Any martial artist would only cultivate one martial path. Only then would they be able to wholeheartedly pursue the Tao. If there were too many martial paths, it would be easy to cause confusion in one's state of mind. Yang Wu wanted to give up this opportunity, but after hesitating for a while, he decided to accept it. He cultivated the Soul Control Heart Sutra and the clone of the Black Tortoise, so he could achieve multitasking. Even if there was one more martial path, he should be able to take care of it. Yang Wu threw away his distracting thoughts and chatted with the white-haired youth about the current affairs of the world. Do you know that our transcendent world only belongs to a single planet? This junior does not know. Our planet is called Earth Star, and there are all kinds of races living there. The human race was originally one of the weak races on Earth Star, but after our ancestors opened up the path of cultivation, we gradually became a powerful race, standing shoulder to shoulder with the other races. Many of our ancestors have already become supreme gods, protecting the human race and protecting Earth Star. Our transcendent world is only a middle-level world of Earth Star, while the mortal world is the lowest-level world. Every world is bound by the laws of heaven and earth, and it is these restrictions that affect the growth of all living beings. Once they reach the peak, they are unable to break free from these restrictions, making it difficult for them to move forward. Our ancestors, in order to pursue eternal life and become the strongest living beings, forcefully broke free from the restrictions of heaven and earth, and discovered the higher-level world of Earth Star. That place is also called the Divine World. As Yang Wu listened to the white-haired youth, he gradually became engrossed. After coming to the transcendent world, he had read many ancient books and understood many things about the transcendent world. However, he had never heard of the white-haired youth's words. Earth Star, world, restrictions of heaven and earth. These words appeared in his mind for the first time. Turned out that reaching the Jade Moon Realm was also called the False God Realm, which was also commonly known as the Heaven Connecting Realm. Reaching this step allowed one to reach the heavens, break free from the shackles, and enter the divine world. Above the Jade Moon Realm, there was an even higher realm, and that was the true realm of gods. Yang Wu felt as if another window had been opened in his world, and he discovered another world above the transcendent world. He felt as if his brain wasn't enough. The divine world, is it the same as the relationship between the mortal world and the transcendent world existing on Earth Star? Yang Wu asked. Haha, you can say that. Earth Star is very big, and this is the mother planet of life, so it is not the same as ordinary stars. The white-haired youth laughed loudly, and then he continued, I am telling you this now because you have become an unrivaled emperor among the youths. Reaching the Star Rune Realm will be easy, and reaching the Jade Moon Realm in the future won't be a problem. You come from the Heavenly Palace, so I believe that fellow Hao Ren will wholeheartedly help you. As for whether or not you can enter the Divine World, that will depend on your luck. Entering the Divine World is for the pursuit of eternal life? What else? The path of cultivation is long, and all living things are only for eternal life. However, becoming a god doesn't necessarily mean eternal life. Only becoming an immortal is truly eternal life. Are there really immortals? After chatting with the white-haired youth for an entire day, Yang Wu realized that he was still a child at the bottom of a well. He couldn't help but think of little Hay. Could it be that it came from the divine world? Yang Wu was sent to the Black Tortoise Sword Pool. The Black Tortoise Sword Pool was enveloped by a forbidden space, and outsiders couldn't enter at all. One had to have the headmaster's token to open it. Normally, the Black Tortoise Sword Pool would only open once every 10 years, allowing the younger generation of Wudong disciples to enter and condense their sword heart, forming a sword domain, and seek their own sword Dao. This time, Yang Wu was allowed to enter the Black Tortoise Sword Pool because it was an exception. Saint Master Yang Wu, you can stay in the sword pool for 7 days. After 7 days you will be sent out. The Wudong headmaster said. Thank you for your trouble. Yang Wu returned the greeting. He stepped into the Black Tortoise Sword Pool. Here, white mist lingered, and the sword chi was astonishing. Countless swords were inserted into the sword pool, enveloped by an array. Every sword was a battle sword left behind by Wudong's ancestors. They had fought for their entire lives, and their swords were stained with their will and even contained their sword Dao. Obtaining the approval of one of the swords would give one the qualifications to obtain that sword's sword intent or sword Dao. Many disciples who entered here might not have any gains, but those who did would become Wudong's experts. When the forbidden space closed, countless sword chi appeared. Xiao xiao. First, 9 sword chi turned into a rainbow and stabbed towards Yang Wu. This was an attack that had reached the heavenly fish realm. Yang Wu did not block it. This kind of power could not hurt him. The black tortoise battle armor appeared on his body and blocked the sword chi. After the 9 sword chi were blocked, another 18 sword chi swept over. It was still an attack of the heavenly fish realm. Yang Wu still ignored it. He walked towards the center of the sword pool step by step. He felt that something seemed to be calling out to him. 18 sword chi. 36 sword chi. 72 sword chi. The sword chi grew more and more, and its power gradually increased. When it landed on Yang Wu's black tortoise battle armor, it sounded out, ding dang ding dang. Yang Wu's defense was too strong. These sword chi could not hurt him at all. That's not right. The sword pool is a place to condense sword intent and sword Tao. If I block all the sword chi, how can I comprehend sword intent or sword Tao? Could there be another trick? Yang Wu thought to himself. Soon, the sword chi here covered the sky and earth, blocking him from going to the center of the sword pool. Yang Wu began to feel the pressure. These sword chi had the power to penetrate his battle armor and cut his body. By the way, the sword pool is a place to practice swordsmanship. I'm not practicing swordsmanship here. Yang Wu suddenly realized. Therefore, he took out the mysterious phoenix sword and began to compete with the sword chi. Meteor sword technique. Stellar sword technique. Nameless sword. Taiji sword. Chapter 1144. All this while, Yang Wu didn't seriously cultivate his sword skills. He had been searching for his own spear Tao because he was afraid that if he cultivated too many martial arts, he wouldn't be able to progress in other martial arts. Now that he had entered the sword pool, he would be an idiot if he didn't cultivate his sword Tao. From the white-haired youth, he had learned about the existence of the realm and the existence of the high and mighty deities. Those deities were extremely powerful. If one day he offended a deity, wouldn't he die if he didn't have enough strength? Since he had the chance to step onto the path of the sword, he might as well cultivate it. After all, his clones could support his cultivation. Therefore, he started to cultivate all the sword techniques that he had cultivated before. His clones appeared. One of them cultivated the meteor sword technique, one cultivated the stellar sword technique, one cultivated the nameless sword, and the real body cultivated the Taiji sword. The meteor sword technique and the stellar sword technique were both minor saint sword technique. Both of them were different but the same. They used the power of the illusory sword technique to attack. They focused on speed and explosive power to form the terrifying power of falling meteors. The two clones had blocked 1,800 sword chis. The other clone cultivated the nameless sword. This sword technique was the most powerful. He had always thought that it was a saint technique. Now that he had the strength of a saint, he realized that he still couldn't fully unleash the sword technique of this sword technique. This sword technique might be a divine technique. The Taiji sword was the same as the Taiji fist. They were both battle techniques that anyone in Wudong could cultivate. They had the same principles as the Taiji fist. They were ever-changing and could be both soft and hard. If one understood the Taiji fist, it would be much easier to learn the basics of the Taiji sword. One true body and 3 clones blocked 3,600 sword chis together, and the number of sword chis was still increasing. Yang Wu continued to advance. The sword chi was all shattered. His understanding of sword techniques was also increasing rapidly. For any battle technique, as long as one cultivated it, they would naturally be able to. Practice makes perfect. This was a principle that commoners knew. Many martial artists were blinded by a single leaf and neglected such a simple principle. After Yang Wu understood this principle, he realized that his cultivation of battle techniques was still insufficient. Only by cultivating continuously could he accumulate enough experience and improve further. As he continued to move forward, more and more sword chi appeared, and the power became stronger and stronger. The sword chi that covered the sky and earth was simply too shocking. Those with insufficient strength would have long been chopped into minced meat by these sword chi. The sword will in Yang Wu's divine court Dao flower surged. All the avatars merged into one. His true body erupted with sword will. His sword chi collided with the sword chi here. Rumble, rumble. After Yang Wu advanced 1,000 feet, he erupted with his full strength. He was still 1,000 feet away from the center of the sword pool, and there seemed to be something calling out to him. He increased the speed of his charge, and the sword chi of the sword pool became even more terrifying. A distance of 300 meters was like a distance of 10,000 miles, and it was not so easy to cover. Yang Wu's black tortoise battle armor cracked, and sword chi landed on his body, leaving wounds on his sacred dragon physique. The sword energy here contains sword intent. How terrifying! Yang Wu exclaimed inwardly when he sensed the destructive power of the sword intent transmitted from his wound. Yang Wu's sword intent's power erupted to the extreme. He became one with the sword and slashed out the nameless sword. The nameless sword was the most powerful. When it slashed out, it was as if countless stars had been destroyed. Yang Wu was like a swimming dragon as he quickly rushed through many sword chi and reached the place where he sensed it. He had also suffered the punishment of being sliced into pieces. The intricate sword marks had cut his body, and blood seeped out. It was almost impossible to reach this place without the strength of a level 6 astral rune realm. After Yang Wu arrived here, he had restrained all of his aura. Only his sword intent was pulsating, resonating with the rusty ancient sword in front of him. The ancient sword reacted and the sword light flashed. It was as if a black tortoise had come into being. In an instant, all of the sword chi was shaken off, no longer posing any threat to Yang Wu. The mystic chi bloodline in Yang Wu's body boiled as his sword intent kept throbbing. He couldn't help but grab the ancient sword. Whoosh! When Yang Wu pulled out the sword, a black tortoise roared out. It was lifelike and had astonishing power. At this moment, Yang Wu seemed to be filled with infinite power. He held the sword and danced there. A battle skill that came from his bloodline had awakened. Star-swallowing sword skill. The first move was world-rending. The second move was star-destroying. The third move was galaxy-destroying. The fourth move was devouring the starry sky. The fifth move was great chaos true essence. World-rending. One move could break a world. Its power was boundless. Star-destroying. One move could shatter a star. It was unstoppable. Galaxy-destroying. One move could go against the heavens and destroy a galaxy. Devouring the starry sky. One move was black tortoise. It could devour billions of galaxies. Great chaos true essence. With the stars as the true essence, one move could shake the universe. Star-swallowing sword skill was a true divine sword art. The nameless sword had finally found its source. It was the third move of star-swallowing sword skill, galaxy-destroying. It was no wonder that each time Yang Wu used this move, its power became more and more terrifying. It was a divine sword move. This sword skill did not come from the ancient sword. It came from Yang Wu's bloodline imprint. When his bloodline returned to its ancestral state, he felt that the Yang ancestors had imprinted some memories in his bloodline. Now, under the resonance of the ancient sword, this sword skill was completely unsealed. If he didn't meet this ancient sword, he would have to at least reach the Jade Moon realm to be able to activate this divine sword skill. Could this be a divine sword left here by my Yang family's ancestors? After practicing this sword skill many times, Yang Wu stopped and began to look at the ancient sword. The ancient sword was very exquisite. The hilt was made of a black tortoise. The body of the sword was engraved with turtle patterns. The blade was very sharp. It looked like a black tortoise was jumping. The Big Dipper sword was the name of this divine sword. Yang Wu suspected that this sword had the soul of a black tortoise, or was it made from the divine body of a black tortoise? Yang Wu felt a thought from the ancient sword. It wanted to drink blood. Yang Wu did not hesitate to stretch out his hand and wipe the blade of the sword. Fresh blood seeped onto the blade, and the black tortoise appeared on the blade. It quickly swallowed the fresh blood, and the black tortoise became more and more solid. It happily said, "Greetings, Master." Many of the sacred weapons on the sacred weapon ranking had weapon spirit. Sacred weapons with weapon spirits were even more powerful. As for divine weapons, if they did not have weapon spirits, they would not be divine weapons. You can't be the divine sword of Wudong sect, right? Yang Wu thought of the divine weapon worshipped in Wudong sect's main hall. It seemed to be the Big Dipper sword. He was afraid that this sword was the real thing. If it was, he could not take it out. Hee, I am indeed the divine sword of Wudong sect. The Big Dipper sword said. Ah, then wouldn't I be? Yang Wu guessed correctly. He was at a loss. The Big Dipper sword has been in my Wudong sect for 1,000,000 years. You are the second person besides the great emperor to be recognized by it. An old voice sounded. Yang Wu looked in the direction of the voice and found that an old man with a hunched back had appeared in the sword pool. You are? Yang Wu looked at the hunched back old man and asked. He found that the old man gave him a more oppressive feeling than the white-haired youth. The old man was like a vast ocean. He could not see through him at all. We met when you first came to Wudong sect, the old man said indifferently. We met? Yang Wu thought, but he did not have any impression. You don't have to care who I am. The Big Dipper sword has recognized you as its master. From now on, you are the master of the Big Dipper sword. As for Wudong sect, you don't have to worry. They will not blame you, and they have no right to blame you. The old man said seriously. Okay, I just feel guilty. Yang Wu sighed softly. He was a guest of Wudong sect, and everyone in Wudong sect treated him very well. However, he had quietly obtained the recognition of the divine sword of a sect, so he felt a little apologetic in his heart. You don't have to feel guilty. Taking the Big Dipper sword means that you need to make the Big Dipper sword famous again. Once, the great emperor killed gods and demons of all world. I hope you don't disgrace its reputation. The hunched-back old man said faintly. Then, he disappeared from the sword pool. Yang Wu could not see how the old man came in and left. He wondered if the old man was the guardian of this place. Then, he had a flash of inspiration. He suddenly thought of a possibility. Could he be the Purple Cloud Palaces? There was a spirit pool in front of the Purple Cloud Palace. There was a stone turtle in the spirit pool. Little Hay said it was a living creature. Now, he believed it. Master, you still have time to hone your sword mind. Your sword mind is too weak. It is not enough to use 1% of my power. The Big Dipper sword spirit said. Okay, then how should I hone my sword mind? Yang Wu asked helplessly. This is the sword pool. To hone your sword mind, you have to start from the soul. First, you have to condense a sword seed. Then, you have to nurture a sword heart. Finally, you will achieve the sword path. The Big Dipper sword spirit replied. Okay, I'll try. Yang Wu nodded and sat down. He had only been here for 2 days. He still had 5 days. Whether or not he could condense a sword heart depended on these 5 days. He held the Big Dipper sword and released the sword mind from the God's Court Dao flower. He used his mental power to control the sword mind and collided with the sword energy around him. Only by using the sword mind to hone the sword mind could he condense a sword heart in the fastest time. Sword mind was a kind of concept. It was also the concept of mental power. Yang Wu's sword mind instantly collapsed when it collided with the sword mind here. It is indeed very weak. Yang Wu sighed softly and mobilized the sword mind to attack again. The second collapse, the third collapse, the fourth collapse. Controlling the sword mind required a lot of mental power. Yang Wu used the sword mind 108 times in a row. Every time, it was shattered by the sword mind here. This proved that his sword mind was far inferior to the sword mind here. Fortunately, his mental power was extremely strong. It could support him to use the sword mind again and again. If it were anyone else, they would have been devoured by the sword mind. After colliding with the sword mind here again and again, Yang Wu's sword mind gradually became much thicker and more condensed. After colliding with the sword mind 3,000 times, Yang Wu's sword mind underwent a transformation. It condensed a sword heart. Chapter 1145. Condensing the sword heart and forming the sword Tao. Once a swordsman condensed the sword heart, he would be considered half a step into the sword Tao. The sword heart was condensed from the sword intent seed. It also belonged to the consciousness of the great success of the sword intent. Yang Wu had been branded with the sword intent for a long time. Over the years, as his divine court Tao flower grew, his sword intent gradually became stronger. After obtaining the Big Dipper sword, his sword intent became more and more vigorous. When it collided with other sword intents in the sword pool, condensing the sword heart in one fell swoop was a matter of course. In other words, after condensing the sword heart, the next step was to choose the sword Tao. Which sword Tao was most suitable for him would depend on how he entered the Tao. Yang Wu decided to cultivate the star-swallowing sword art and condense his own sword Tao. 7 days were up. Yang Wu came out of the sword pool. His harvest was really great. At this time, he also felt that it was time to leave. He had received too much from Wudong and did not know how to repay them. It would not be too late to repay them if he succeeded in the future. Yang Wu returned to the side hall where he lived and gathered his companions. He told them to prepare to return to the Yang family. These companions did not have any objections. Everything was up to Yang Wu. Before Yang Wu left, he had to inform the Wudong sect leader and bid farewell to Lu Ji. Yang Wu brought everyone to the Purple Cloud Palace again. The stone turtle in front of the spirit pool was still motionless, but Yang Wu still bowed to it. Then, he knelt to the Zhenwu Great Emperor. The moment he knelt, he felt that the Zhenwu Great Emperor seemed to be looking at him. It was a very strange feeling. He could not help but think to himself, I feel a sense of familiarity when I come to Wudong. Could it be that I am fated with the real Great Emperor? Under the lead of the Wudong disciples, Yang Wu went to the back mountain of Wudong and met the Wudong sect leader again. After Yang Wu expressed his intention to leave, the Wudong sect leader and the other sacred elders tried their best to persuade him to stay. Seeing that Yang Wu had made up his mind, they did not force him. The Wudong sect leader sent someone to call Lu Ji over. After Yang Wu saw Lu Ji, he handed over a yin and yang ring and said, Beautiful military advisor, cultivate well and reach the Star Rune realm as soon as possible. When the time comes, bring Lulu back to the clan to take a look. My lord, are you really going to leave me here alone? Lu Ji asked pitifully. Ever since he became the disciple of the Grand Protector, the Grand Protector no longer taught him anything other than Taiji Fist every day. He felt that this master was too irresponsible. Isn't Lulu a human? If you don't like it, I'll bring her back with me. Yang Wu said. Don't, I said the wrong thing. I will quickly reach the Star Rune realm and bring Lulu back. Lu Ji corrected himself. He then said seriously, Does my lord still remember Peng Yuan? Yes, I remember. What's wrong? Yang Wu nodded. When Peng Yuan was in the mortal world, he was his number 2 military advisor. It was just that he was ugly and was almost ignored by him. It was Lu Ji who asked him to keep Peng Yuan. His wisdom is not inferior to mine. When I am not by my lord's side, let him give more ideas to my lord. Lu Ji said sincerely. After coming to the transcendent realm, there was no large-scale war, so the use of a wise man was less. If Lu Ji did not have the yin-yang battle body, he did not know if he could keep up with Yang Wu's footstep. Yang Wu nodded lightly and said, Yes, when we go back, I will let him be my chief military advisor. You can cultivate here in peace. Don't, my lord. I am still your chief military advisor. Pang Yuan can only be the second seat at most. You are already a member of Wudong. Stay well. If there is anything, send someone to find me at any time. My lord will always protect you. Goodbye. My lord, take care. Yang Wu and his group left Wudong. They directly went through the spatial gate of Wudong Mountain and embarked on the return journey. When they were on the return journey, a strong enemy targeted Yang Wu. The closest sect to Wudong was the Dragon and Tiger sect. Both of them were giant powers and both cultivated Taoist technique. They originally belonged to the same sect, but because of various reasons, a Taoist master walked on a different path and specialized in the Tao of talismans. This was a Tao technique called the Tao of Immortals. The disciples of the Dragon and Tiger sect all knew how to refine talismans. Each talisman had a different function. For example, the exorcism talisman could protect one's mind and expel evil energy. For example, the form transformation talisman could transform one's power and suppress the opponent. For example, the heaven evasion talisman could borrow the power of the talisman to escape thousands of miles away. When Yang Wu and his group arrived at Wudong, the Dragon and Tiger sect received the news. Yang Wu and the Dragon and Tiger sect were not directly enemies. Even though Yang Wu, Zhang Daolong, and Su Buli were enemies in the Dragon Phoenix Abyss, it did not mean that they would hold a grudge against him after leaving the Dragon Phoenix Abyss. What they really held a grudge against was Yang Wu's Dragon Phoenix fruit and the divine treasure that he might obtain. In the Dragon and Tiger Taoist temple, a doppelganger descended on a golden body. The golden body's divine eyes could see through layers of space and could see through a realm. This was the divine power that belonged to the Jade Moon Realm's omnipotent powerhouses. Where is the Dragon and Tiger sacred general? The golden body shouted in a divine voice. Your disciple is here, a voice replied. Quickly go and capture Yang Wu. Yes, Lord, perfected Lord. Since he dared to call himself a perfected Lord, he was comparable to Wudong's supreme guardian. On the Dragon and Tiger Mountain, a chariot pulled by Xue Jiao and Qing, who rushed out to kill Yang Wu. The Dragon and Tiger sect had 108 sacred generals. Each of them had experienced hundreds of battles and were proficient in talisman arts. They were war generals that the saints of the various superpowers did not want to provoke. Now, the Dragon and Tiger sect had sent out 8 sacred generals just to capture Yang Wu. It was enough to show how important Yang Wu was to them. When Yang Wu and the others had just left a spatial door and arrived at the teleportation zone, the chariot pulled by Xue Jiao and Qing, who broke through the air and arrived. Young clan leader, they're coming for us, Qing Feng said with a serious expression. Whether it's a blessing or a curse, we can't avoid it, Yang Wu said with a frown. After his master made a move in the Dragon Phoenix Abyss, he should have intimidated many forces. He did not expect that there would still be saints from other forces who would attack him. They were extraordinarily bold. Young master, I'll let the babies deal with them, the little man said without hesitation. She had brought hundreds of ferocious beasts into the Dragon Phoenix Abyss. In the end, only a few dozen of them came out alive, and 4 of them were saints. Let's see who's coming first, Yang Wu replied. Yang Wu, come with me to the Dragon and Tiger sect, a cold voice rang out. Yang Wu looked at the approaching chariot and said, I have something to do back home. I don't have time to go to the Dragon and Tiger sect. Please forgive me. The chariot stopped and Xue Jiao and Qing who roared. Roar, roar. Even an ordinary saint would not be able to withstand their roars. They were all saints. These guys are not easy to deal with, Yang Ba said with a frown. We'll only know if they're not easy to deal with after we fight, Su Zhu said with a murderous aura. That's right. They're here to deal with Big Brother. I'll open a path for him first, Sun Do said and charged forward with his broken staff. Sun Do's combat strength was not much weaker than Yang Wu's. He was not afraid of ordinary saints at all. A Xue Jiao and Qing who pounced at Sun Do at the same time. I'll block them. You guys hurry up and run. They're too strong, Qing Feng shouted as she stood in front of Yang Wu. It's useless. They're determined to capture me, Yang Wu said as he shook his head. The 8 saint generals on the chariot had already flown out. They stood in different positions and locked onto Yang Wu's group. The strongest saint general was at the 8th level star rune realm. The rest were at least at the 3rd level star rune realm. This was the foundation of the dragon and tiger sect. The 8th level star rune realm was infinitely close to the top saint. If you still want to resist, we'll capture you as well. The 8th level star rune realm saint said in a deep voice. They had to be absolutely sure of this mission. They did not want to give Yang Wu's group too many chances. We're already far away from Wu Dang. With our strength, we can't stop them. We need to ask for reinforcement. Yang Wu thought to himself. He did not hesitate to crush the jade tube that the previous sect master had given him. Little Wu, there's nothing to be afraid of. With your strength, you can definitely kill them. Little Hay said from the back of the silver-patterned tortoise. It shouldn't be a problem for me to escape alone. However, I don't want the others to die. Yang Wu replied. He took out the Big Dipper sword and prepared to fight. On Wu Dang Mountain, the previous sect master who was comprehending the heaven and earth immediately rushed out of his cave when he sensed the fluctuation of the jade tube. Saint Master Yang Wu just left my Wu Dang, and someone dares to kill him. They really have guts. The previous sect master shouted in shock. He broke through space as fast as he could and rushed towards Yang Wu's direction. With the jade tube's reaction, he could arrive within the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Would Yang Wu's group be able to last for an incense stick's worth of time? Tear open the Imperial Edict to protect yourselves. The previous sect master of Wu Dang will be here soon. Yang Wu transmitted to the people beside him. Take him down. The level 8 star pattern saint of the Dragon Tiger sect shouted. The 8 of them attacked at the same time. They did not give Yang Wu's group any chance. Kill! Qing Feng was a mid-level demon saint. She was infinitely close to becoming a high-level demon saint. She exploded with all her strength. Countless green blades swept towards the Dragon Tiger sect's saint. A mere Qing Luan dares to be so impudent. Suppress! The level 8 celestial rune saint roared. A holy rune flickered and a huge flood dragon appeared, suppressing the blue phoenix. The flood dragon's strength was shocking. Qing Feng's attack was instantly suppressed. Even if she transformed into her original form, it was useless. Qing Feng's strength was not weak, but Yang Wu's enemy was too strong. Yang Wu rushed over. He gathered all his strength on the Big Dipper sword and used his sword heart to activate it. A bright light flashed and a sword chi that could tear apart the Milky Way tore through the sky and slashed at the saint who was trying to capture him. The level 5 star pattern saint had just stretched out his hand. Before he could grab Yang Wu, he sensed the terrifying sword intent that Yang Wu had activated. He was instantly frightened. He wanted to withdraw his hand, but it was too late. A destructive sword chi swallowed him up. The level 5 star pattern saint was killed by Yang Wu in an instant. His body and soul were destroyed. Is this a divine weapon? The level 8 celestial rune realm saint exclaimed in shock. Then, he personally made a move. Chapter 1146. Yang Wu had more than one divine weapon. There was also an electric fork hidden in his heavenly thunder bone. Yang Wu couldn't use the electric fork. Fortunately, he could use the Big Dipper sword. In the Black Tortoise sword pool, Yang Wu had used the Big Dipper sword to cultivate the star-swallowing sword art. He had learned the 5 sword techniques by heart and had also completely perfected the destruction of the Celestial River. Facing the siege of the 8 great sacred generals, Yang Wu didn't dare to take any chances. Moreover, He still had so many companions by his side. He didn't want them to die. Yang Wu had killed a level 5 celestial pattern realm saint with a single strike. Even he was shocked. With his strength, he definitely wouldn't have a problem fighting an ordinary level 5 celestial pattern realm saint. However, the one in front of him was a level 5 celestial pattern realm saint from the Dragon Tiger sect. He was definitely a saint who could fight above his level. Even so, he had been killed without any resistance. It was obvious how terrifying the power of the Big Dipper sword was. The level 8 celestial pattern realm saint had personally made a move. Runic hand. A hand that contained runes enveloped heaven and earth, sealing the space and not giving Yang Wu a chance to escape. It only needed a light claw to capture Yang Wu. World-rending. Yang Wu held the Big Dipper sword and slashed out again. The sword heart in the divine court Dao flower floated and the power in his dantian surged out. A sword slash could break a realm. The destructive sword chi collided with the runic hand. Boom! Boom! The runic hand was directly shattered by the sharp sword chi. However, the power of the sword was also completely shattered. What? The level 8 celestial pattern realm saint cried out. With his strength, it was easy to kill a saint who was lower than him. Yang Wu was only at the peak of the dragon transformation realm. He wasn't even a half-step saint. He felt like he was in a dream when he destroyed his strength with a single strike. The difference in strength between each level of a saint was huge, not to mention the difference between realms. No matter how monstrous Yang Wu was, it was impossible to cross so many realms to compete with him. He was more and more certain that Yang Wu was holding a divine sword, otherwise it would be impossible for it to destroy his power. Thinking of this, his gaze became heated. I want this divine weapon. In the next moment, he took out 3 talismans and threw them at Yang Wu. Heavenly Trapping Rune Town. Flood Dragon Seal. Green Tiger Seal Town. The 3 talismans descended at the same time. 1 talisman descended from the heavens, 1 talisman had a flood dragon, and 1 talisman had a green tiger. The flood dragon and the tiger rushed towards Yang Wu at the same time. The other sages also made their moves to capture the others. Fortunately, the little man had dozens of ferocious beasts around her, including a few saint-level ferocious beasts. They were able to temporarily stop the saints from attacking her. The others tore the Imperial Edict apart to stop the saint. Sun Do didn't need an Imperial Edict to be able to block the capture of a Grade 4, Celestial Mark Saint. His battle prowess was astonishing. Yang Wu was trapped by the 3 talismans, and he could break them with a single sword strike. However, the energy in his dantian had been madly sucked away, and was not enough to support continuous attacks. In the face of absolute strength, he was still too far away. Qing Feng tried her best to help Yang Wu, but it was still to no avail. Damn it! Why am I so weak? Why am I so weak? Qing Feng blamed herself. Looks like I have to use my life-saving trump card, Yang Wu thought to himself. He took out a badge. It was the Alchemist badge of the Alchemist Alliance. As long as he activated the badge's power, he would be able to borrow the power of the heavens. It would be easy to defeat these guys. Just as he was about to use the badge's power, the previous Wudong sect master finally arrived. A sword came from the west, breaking through layers of obstacles, and went straight for the Grade 8, Celestial Mark Saint. Pooh! The Grade 8, Celestial Mark Saint was injured. All the talisman power was broken by the sword, and Yang Wu was safe. Spiritual Master Zhang, Yang Wu said happily when he saw the person who came. Haha, Saint Master Yang Wu, we meet again. The previous Wudong sect master laughed. Zhang Yun, how dare you ruin our Dragon Tiger sect's business? The Grade 8, Celestial Mark Saint panicked when he saw the person who came. In terms of strength, Zhang Yun was above him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to become the previous sect master of Wudong. Hurry up and take your people and get lost. Saint Master Yang Wu is our Wudong's distinguished guest. At the same time, he is my benefactor. How can you offend him? Zhang Yun reprimanded the grade 8, celestial mark saint without holding back. Alright, we will remember this. In the future, your Wudong disciples will not offend our dragon tiger sect. The grade 8, celestial mark saint chose to back down. They had more people. Even if they worked together, they might not be able to hold Zhang Yun back. Moreover, Yang Wu had the Big Dipper sword in his hand. The people of the Dragon Tiger sect left without hesitation. Soon, they disappeared from this world. Yang Wu finally heaved a sigh of relief. He cupped his hands and said to Zhang Yun, "Thank you for saving me, spiritual master Zhang. Saint Master Yang Wu, you are too polite. You are our Wudong's distinguished guest. We should have escorted you back," Zhang Yun said guiltily. Then, his gaze fell on the divine sword in Yang Wu's hand. He cried out, "The Big Dipper sword?" Just as Yang Wu was about to explain, Zhang Yun said, "I didn't expect our Wudong's divine sword to finally have an owner. It seems that this is the will of heaven. Saint Master Yang Wu, please use the Big Dipper sword well. Don't ruin its reputation." The divine sword was something that even Tongtian level old monsters would fight for, not to mention that it came from Wudong. Not only did Zhang Yun not ask for it, he even supported Yang Wu to use it well. His breadth of mind was too broad. Yang Wu was incomparably impressed. He explained, "This sword was indeed obtained from the Black Tortoise Sword Pool. Moreover, I have already told your sect's supreme protector about it. With his permission, I brought it out. I hope spiritual master Zhang won't blame me." When Yang Wu left the Black Tortoise Sword Pool, he had told the Wudong's supreme protector about the Big Dipper sword. Even though the hunchbacked old man had agreed to let him take it away, he still had to tell Wudong to avoid any misunderstandings. The supreme protector said the same thing as Zhang Yun, but he added, "I knew that the Big Dipper sword was fated to be with you." Yang Wu was a little confused. How was he fated to be with the divine sword? Could it be that he could predict the future? "Saint Master Yang Wu, you don't need to worry. You are allowed to enter the sword pool and take the divine sword from the sword pool. No one in Wudong will blame you. Let's go, I will escort you back to the battle clan." Zhang Yun waved his hand and said indifferently. The more it was like this, the more guilty Yang Wu felt. If there was a chance in the future, he would definitely repay Wudong's favor. With Zhang Yun's escort, Yang Wu and his group safely returned to the Yang family's territory. Yang Wu originally wanted to invite Zhang Yun to the Yang family as a guest, but Zhang Yun did not agree. He turned around and returned to Wudong. Wudong would never get involved in the matters of the major powers. This time, he escorted Yang Wu, which was already giving Yang Wu a lot of face. If he went to the Yang family, who knew how many powers would suspect that Wudong was allied with the Yang family? Although Wudong was not worried about these rumors, it was better to avoid them. After Yang Wu watched Zhang Yun leave, he couldn't help but take a deep breath and sigh, "I'm finally back." This time, he had been away for more than a year, but he felt that he had experienced a lot. He was filled with emotions. Yang Wu quickly led the people around him back to the Yang family. Soon, the Yang family received news of Yang Wu's return, and the entire family was excited. The news of Yang Wu becoming the invincible emperor had already spread throughout the transcendent world. Many powers came to visit and sent gifts. There were also many first-rate powers that expressed their desire to form an alliance with the Yang family. This caused an even bigger stir than when Yang Wu became the Alchemist Alliance's top alchemist saint. As long as the invincible emperor did not die, becoming a saint was a certainty. Moreover, it was very likely that he would reach the heaven-piercing realm in the future. Such a monstrous genius had the potential to become an era-suppressing figure. Being on good terms with him would only bring benefit. It had been 10,000 years. The first invincible young emperor of the human race was comparable to the ancient invincible young emperor of the human race. Many powers thought highly of him. Yang Wu also had the status of a top alchemist saint in the Alchemist Alliance. Perhaps he could become someone like the Alchemist Alliance's leader. After Yang Wu returned, almost all of the upper echelons of the Yang family came out to welcome him. When Yang Jinghai saw Yang Wu, he laughed heartily. "Welcome back to our Yang family's hero, Yang Wu. Welcome back, hero. Welcome back, hero." Everyone in the Yang family cheered in unison. In the past 10,000 years, the Yang family had gradually declined. They had been suppressed by other families, and even their subordinate powers had left. Their territory had shrunk day by day, and they had almost fallen out of the battle race. Just when everyone thought that the Yang family had no hope, a young man who had returned from the mortal world had swept away the Yang family's decline in one fell swoop. He had triggered the atavistic bloodline and helped them awaken their bloodline power. He had even saved their little ancestor and helped their great-grandmother to be reborn. He had made a name for himself in the God of War pagoda and become the Alchemist Alliance's top sage elder. All of these shocking things had been done by a young man. The Yang family had seen hope again, and they had regained the name of the battle race's Yang family. At this moment, Yang Wu's status was even higher than that of the patriarch, Yang Jinghai. This young patriarch lived up to his name. If he wanted to become the patriarch now, no one would say a word against it. Even the members of the Azure family were convinced and didn't dare to use any underhanded means to break the unity. Only by following Yang Wu would they have some soup to drink and a chance to establish themselves in the Yang family. If they continued to target Yang Wu, the Azure family would probably be chased out of the Yang family. At this moment, a sense of belonging rose in Yang Wu's heart. He was truly connected to this family. It was the family that had acknowledged and accepted him. He also started to forget about everything that had happened in the past. After all, they were all from the same family. After Yang Wu returned to the family, he met with the upper echelons of the Yang family for half a day before heading to the forbidden area to see his great-grandmother. He had brought back a large number of divine artifacts from the boundary passageway. These divine artifacts had to be left in the Yang family. He didn't have the ability to protect them yet. Chapter 1147. Gong Xilan, the great-grandmother of the Yang clan, had almost passed away. A drop of immortal liquid had helped her come back to life, and she had broken through to the next realm. Not only that, her body was filled with vitality, and she had more time to break through to the next realm. She was the stabilizing force of the Yang clan, and she had no way of leaving the Yang clan's ancestral grounds. She was afraid that the Xing clan would shamelessly come and exterminate the Yang clan. Especially when the Yang clan was getting better and better, she could not leave. Thus, she could only stay in the Yang clan's ancestral grounds to cultivate. The Xian Qi here was not enough to help her improve quickly, and the 9 lotus divine throne she sat on had used up too much of its power, so it could not be of much use. For the Yang clan, she had sacrificed too much. Fortunately, her son Yang Taihe was still alive, and he could go out and cultivate. The sooner he reached the peak of the Saint Realm and entered the Heaven-connecting realm, she would have more freedom. When Yang Wu returned, she could naturally sense that she was the most satisfied with this descendant. It could be said that Yang Wu was more important than her, but it was a pity that she did not have the strength to take care of him. Qing Feng was raised by her, but it was not enough to protect Yang Wu. The more outstanding Yang Wu was, the more experts wanted to kill him. This was a very serious problem. Fortunately, Yang Wu had many opportunities, otherwise he would have already died. When Yang Wu walked towards her, she said with satisfaction, "Filial child." Yang Wu came to the forbidden grounds, and saw Gong Xilan sitting on the 9 lotus divine throne. He bowed and said, "Greetings, great-grandmother. Good child, this time you have greatly increased the face of the Yang clan. If the ancestors of the Yang clan knew about this, they would definitely be happy for you." Gong Xilan was not stingy with her praise. "Great-grandmother is too kind. Yang Wu replied modestly, and then he said, "Great-grandmother, I have something important to tell you. Can you isolate this place?" "What is it that made you so cautious?" Gong Xilan asked. This was the Yang clan's territory, so she had long set up restrictions. If someone's consciousness penetrated into this place, she would be the first to discover it. Yang Wu also asked her to set up another layer of barriers. This was not a small matter. Gong Xilan still did as she was told. Maybe Yang Wu would be able to give her a pleasant surprise. Yang Wu sent a sound transmission. "Great-grandmother, I obtained a divine treasure in the Dragon Phoenix Abyss." After he finished speaking, he handed over half of the divine treasures he had obtained from the Dragon Phoenix Abyss to Gong Xilan. Gong Xilan's beautiful eyes twitched. She took the Qian Kuan ring and her divine sense quickly entered the Qian Kuan ring. Then, she lost her self-control and exclaimed, "Wu Yu, how did you get so many divine objects?" Even though she was a Jade Moon Realm expert, she was still shocked when she saw the divine items Yang Wu took out. It was obvious how precious the divine items Yang Wu brought back were. The Dragon Phoenix Abyss had existed for countless years, and many experts had gone in to investigate the secrets inside. In the end, they had all died there, and the treasures they had left behind were truly astonishing. There were divine weapons, divine skills, divine corpses, and even the Qian Kuan ring that they had left behind. There were many divine objects inside. If it was during the Yang clan's heyday, these divine objects would not be considered much. But now that the Yang clan had declined, these divine objects were like charcoal in snowy weather. They were extremely important. Yang Wu told Gong Xilan everything that had happened in the Dragon Phoenix Abyss. After Gong Xilan heard it, she felt that Yang Wu was really lucky to be able to come out alive. A place with a divine level restriction and the legendary heaven, extreme astral chi. Any strand of heaven extreme astral chi could kill a heaven realm expert, but Yang Wu was able to escape. He was indeed a person with great luck. "Wu-er, you are really my Yang clan's lucky star, a big lucky star. Great-grandmother doesn't know how to thank you." Gong Xilan could not close her mouth and said, "If it were anyone else, they would not take out such a divine treasure." However, Yang Wu took it out and gave it to the clan. This boldness was not something that anyone else could possess. Perhaps it was because of this breadth of mind that he was able to grow up so quickly. The bigger the stage in his heart, the bigger his achievements would be. Yang Wu said, "Great-grandmother, we are all family. I only did what I should do. I hope that our Yang clan will have 1 or 2 more existences like great-grandmother. Then we will not need to be afraid of the Xing clan." Well said. Great-grandmother is also looking forward to someone taking over. I will summon the Black Tortoise and the Azure Dragon army back. With your divine objects, they will definitely be able to reach a higher level, Gong Xilan said. Then what about the battle world? Our Yang clan has sacrificed too much in the battle world. These years, there are not many mines left to mine. Moreover, other clans have taken over more territory. We might as well withdraw. When their strength increases, it won't be too late to snatch it back. Moreover, our clan has a top-tier alchemist like you. The income there is nothing much. I plan to cultivate Dan Long into a saint alchemist. With him in charge of the clan, I will be more at ease. After the saint transformation pond, I will return to the heavenly palace. Right. The heavenly palace matters. You don't need to worry about the clan. Remember to work hard. The inheritance of the heavenly palace is not as simple as you think. After Yang Wu and Gong Xilan chatted for a while, he looked at the Nine Lotus God and said, "Nine Lotus God, I might be able to help you recover to your peak. You are willing to give me that strand of energy in your body?" The Nine Lotus God asked excitedly. "That's not it. I can give you a drop of immortal dew," Yang Wu said with a smile. Currently, he had 10 drops of immortal dew in his green sprout. They were extremely useful, so he had to use every drop well. The immortal dew that little Hay coveted was naturally not a small matter. The immortal dew that brought me back to life? Gong Xilan asked in surprise. Yang Wu nodded and walked towards the Nine Lotus God. A drop of immortal dew fell onto the Nine Lotus God. Xiao. After this drop of immortal dew appeared, it turned into the purest energy. It was like the heaven and earth origin chi, but also like the primal chaos divine chi. Immortal chi spread out in the surroundings. The flowers and plants planted here instantly grew wildly. This was the aura of life. The Nine Lotus God was incomparably excited. After it absorbed this drop of immortal dew, the lotus heart quickly recovered. Strands of divine chi flickered and instantly shone on the entire Yang clan. Gong Xilan recovered from her shock. She waved her hand and a power enveloped the forbidden area, isolating the divine chi emitted by the Nine Lotus God. Good, little Lotus has finally recovered. Gong Xilan was incomparably excited. The Nine Lotus God had saved her life. Without it, she would have died a long time ago. Unfortunately, she had no way to help the Nine Lotus God recover. It needed to absorb too much divine chi and had to find a divine spring to nourish it. The Yang clan was weak and did not have enough money to buy a divine spring. She could only look on helplessly as it struggled to maintain itself. Her heart did not feel good at all. Today, not only did Yang Wu bring the divine treasury, he also took out the immortal dew to help the Nine Lotus God recover. Gong Xilan did not know how to thank Yang Wu. Fortunately, Yang Wu was a descendant of her bloodline. They were directly related by blood, so she did not have such a huge burden in her heart. Everything in the Yang clan belongs to Yang Wu, Gong Xilan said with certainty in her heart. However, would Yang Wu care about the Yang clan's little bit of wealth? The Nine Lotus God was constantly recovering its divine chi. It gathered more and more xian chi of heaven and earth. The xian chi of heaven and earth in the entire forbidden area was as dense as rain. The surrounding flowers and plants were also nourished and were growing rapidly. Not only that, the entire Yang clan could feel the boundless xian chi of heaven and earth gathering. It seemed to contain some kind of divine chi. Many people sat down cross-legged to absorb this energy. Haha, I broke through to the supreme heavenly fish realm. This is really refreshing. What kind of energy is this? It's so pure. My realm actually jumped 2 levels and reached the peak of the Earth-Sea realm. Could it be that the return of the junior clan chief is a blessing from the heavens? I can feel the power of the Star Rune realm. Such dense energy. If it can be maintained, my Yang clan will definitely have more experts. In every part of the Yang clan, there were people whose strength rose. Some even broke through a major realm. This was a rare thing. The people of the Yang clan naturally did not know that it was because of the Nine Lotus God. They also did not know that Yang Wu had brought them benefit. If they knew, they would be even more grateful to Yang Wu. Yang Wu did not care about this. As long as he could help the clan, he did not care whether others knew or not. His vision did not lie here. He hoped that the Yang clan would one day become the #1 battle clan. The lotus heart of the Nine Lotus God throne continued to grow, and its divine chi became more and more obvious. With it in the Yang clan, it was like having a spirit gathering formation. It could provide the Yang clan with an endless supply of xian chi of heaven and earth, and nurture more outstanding youths. Thank you, Junior Clan Chief. The Nine Lotus God Throne was extremely grateful to Yang Wu. Without Yang Wu's drop of immortal dew, it would not take long for its divine chi to collapse and enter a state of death. Before this, it had used up too much of its energy. You are welcome. In the future, I will need lotus seeds to refine pills. Don't be stingy. Yang Wu was in a good mood and could not help but tease. Junior Clan Chief, how many lotus seeds do you want? I will give them to you now. The Nine Lotus God Throne said heroically. Not only did the immortal dew help it recover to its peak, but it also felt that it could go one step further and become a top-grade divine lotus. It didn't really care about a mere lotus seed. Haha, then give me a few first. I will keep the rest first. I will look for you when I need them in the future. Yang Wu did not stand on ceremony with the 9 lotus god throne and directly asked for a few lotus seeds. These lotus seeds would make even Saint Realm creatures jealous. They could be refined into top-grade Saint pills. In the next moment, 10 lotus seeds flew into Yang Wu's palm. He held the lotus seeds that contained dense divine qi and felt refreshed. That's right, it just so happens that my mother can cultivate herbs. Why don't we plant another divine lotus? Yang Wu suddenly had an idea. Wu, this is a divine medicine. It cannot be cultivated without divine soil. Gong Xilan reminded. I really do have divine soil. Yang Wu smiled proudly. It seems that you have really obtained a divine treasury in this trip to the Dragon Phoenix Abyss. Treasure it well. Chapter 1148. Not far from Gong Xilan's forbidden area, the Yang clan was isolated. The area was not small, at least 10 miles. Without a jade token, one could not enter. This 1,000 mu of land was taken care of by a young woman and some attendants. The young woman was beautiful. She sat cross-legged on the ground, absorbing the energy of the flowers and plants planted here. At the same time, she also emitted another kind of energy to nourish the soil, helping the flowers and plants grow better. The young woman was in the heavenly fish realm. She could actually use this kind of inexplicable method. There was probably no other person in the transcendent world who could do this. At this moment, the restriction was opened, and a young man and a charming woman walked in. You guys go out first. The charming woman waved her hand to the attendants and sent them all out of the place. The young woman woke up from her meditation. After seeing the people who came, her charming face was filled with joy. Great-grandmother Wu, you're back. This young woman was Yang Wu's mother, Surome. Yang Wu quickly walked towards his mother and said with a smile, Mother, you've reached the heavenly fish realm. Your improvement is really fast. He remembered that before going to the Dragon Phoenix Abyss, his mother was only in the intermediate Earth-Sea realm. How long had it been? She had broken through consecutively. It was hard for him not to be surprised. It's all thanks to great-grandmother's guidance that I can improve so quickly, Surome said. In the past, she did not pay much attention to cultivation. Even if Yang Wu taught her the immortal art, she did not care too much. After her husband and son became stronger, she was bored and slowly cultivated. Also, Yang Wu needed her to cultivate herbs. Finally, she had something to do. She found that the immortal art was very suitable for cultivating herbs and could accelerate the improvement of her strength. It's your Xian art that is extraordinary. Otherwise, it would be useless no matter how much I say, Gong Xilan said with a smile. Now, when the two of them stood together, others would think that they were sisters. They would not feel that there was a gap of 100 generations. Wu, come and take a look at the herbs I planted. What do you think? Surome pulled her son's hand and pointed at the herbs on the ground. Without Surome saying anything, Yang Wu was already looking at the herbs here. This land of 10 miles was divided into 100 small fields. Each field was planted with different herbs. There were ordinary herbs and spirit herbs. They were all growing very well, and there was a fragrance that permeated the medicine garden. Mother has taken good care of everything. Very good. Yang Wu sighed softly. This was his mother's first time growing herbs and managing so many herbs. To be able to do this was already very good. I also think it's not bad. Seeing them grow every day makes me feel good. I plan to try cultivating the Medicine King, Surome said with a satisfied expression. Mother, I think you can nurture Medicine Kings, Heaven Medicines, Medicine Emperors, and even Saint Medicines, Yang Wu said with certainty. Then he said, Mother, haven't you noticed that the more herbs you plant, the faster you cultivate? It seems to be the case, but I'm afraid that I won't be able to grow so many high-level herbs. It's not good to waste them. Medicinal seeds are not cheap. "Mother, your son is a top-tier saint alchemist. What's a mere medicinal seed? I'll get the Alchemist Alliance to send a batch of grass seeds over." "Alright, then I'll give it a try. Mother, don't worry. I brought back something good for you this time," Yang Wu said as he took out a piece of soil and said, "Great-grandmother, mother, what kind of soil is this?" Surome couldn't tell. She only felt that the soil was extraordinary, but Gong Xilan recognized it at a glance. After Yang Wu absorbed the aura of the Dragon Fiend Qi and the aura of the Phoenix True Fire, what was left behind was pure sacred soil. It was the best soil to cultivate herbs. Yang Wu took out a large amount of sacred soil and placed it in the 10 miles of land. The herbs here quickly grew. Some ordinary herbs became spirit medicines, and some spirit medicines became medicine kings. This was the extraordinary part of the sacred soil. Using the sacred soil to cultivate ordinary herbs was simply a waste. After Surome obtained the sacred soil, she promised her son that she would help him cultivate a large amount of saint medicines. However, it would take time. Every saint medicine would need at least 100 years to cultivate with the sacred soil. Yang Wu didn't have the time to wait. He decided to let Little Hay set up a qi gathering array here. He also planned to add in the divine graveyard to speed up the cultivation of saint medicines. The divine graveyard could devour life force. It was a type of burial soil and couldn't be used to cultivate plants. However, with Little Hay here, it could definitely change the divine graveyard's ability. In Yang Wu's eyes, Little Hay was an omnipotent immortal emperor, even though he had never called it immortal emperor. Gong Xilan drew out 100 miles of land for Surome to cultivate herbs. Once the herb garden was successfully cultivated, it would provide enough support for the Yang clan. Little Black, who had been captured by Yang Wu to be a laborer, had a look of displeasure on his face. Fortunately, he did not go on strike. He only made a bunch of requests. He wanted to build a super spirit gathering array, which required a large number of saint cores, even divine cores, saint stones, and divine crystals. There were too many materials. Even the Yang clan couldn't afford it. Little Hay could only lower its request and ask Yang Wu to prepare some materials of lower grade. Helpless, Yang Wu and Gong Xilan thought of an idea. They could hold an auction and auction off some damaged divine items that they couldn't use. In addition, they could also auction off some top-grade divine items. These things weren't just left behind by the human race. There were also many items from other races. They believed that many other races would come to participate in the auction. However, there was a certain risk in doing so. If they attracted Immortal Ascension Realm old monsters, it might not be a good thing for them. This was also something that Gong Xilan was worried about. Yang Wu said, "Great-grandmother, don't worry. We can invite a Immortal Ascension Realm expert to be our protector. I believe that no one would dare to have any ideas about the Yang clan." "What idea do you have?" Gong Xilan asked. "Broken Blade," Yang Wu said with a smile. Broken Blade City was a special place for the Battle Clan. It had a city lord named Broken Blade. His battle strength was incomparably strong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to survive in the cracks of the Battle Clan. Yang Wu had already obtained the other part of Broken Blade and notified the city lord to come and get it. "Good, this idea isn't bad. I will immediately send someone to call him over and let him create some momentum for our auction." Gong Xilan's beautiful eyes flashed with excitement. Gong Xilan did as she said. For the sake of the Yang clan's revival, she had been waiting for this day for a long time. Auctioning off a batch of materials that they couldn't use would replenish the Yang clan's foundation. It was also time to show the Yang clan's revival to everyone in the Transcendent Realm. The auction was set to be held 3 months later. Yang Wu planned to refine another batch of pills to replenish the clan's resources. He had obtained a lot of medicinal ingredients from the Flood Dragon Palace. It just so happened that they could be put to good use. He wasn't in a hurry to do this. He originally wanted to see his grandfather, but found that his grandfather and father had gone out to temper themselves. Fortunately, the two of them weren't too far away from the Yang clan's territory, so there shouldn't be any problems. Yang Wu went to see Ai Sha and Xue Xiaofan. After not seeing them for a year, they had grown a lot taller and their strength had increased by a lot. Ai Sha's cultivation talent wasn't bad. Her perception was also good, but her temperament was a little lacking. After coming to the Yang clan, she discovered that there were many geniuses from the same clan. She worked even harder in her cultivation and became the eldest sister of her age. Of course, it wasn't because she was stronger than the other geniuses of the Yang clan. It was because she had a straightforward personality and was able to get along well with others. She was also smart and quick-witted. Many of the Yang clan's youths and girls admired her. Xue Xiaofan, on the other hand, was more low-key. The Yang family had a dedicated refiner, and he had followed that refiner to cultivate. His blacksmithing foundation was incomparably solid. The only pity was that his cultivation speed was still far behind Aisha's. He didn't talk much. He secretly liked Ai Sha, but he didn't dare to say it out loud. Seeing Ai Sha cultivate with the other Yang clan's youths and go out adventuring, he didn't feel good about it. This time, Yang Wu and Little He returned together. Little He taught Xue Xiaofan the barbarian tribe's techniques and the secret techniques of weapon forgers. Little He didn't pass them directly to Xue Xiaofan. Instead, she passed them all to Yang Wu, who then passed them on to Xue Xiaofan. Yang Wu didn't explain why Little He had to go through him. Little He explained, "There is karma in this world. I already have karma with you. If I pass it on to him, he will also have karma with me. In the future, it will have a great impact on his cultivation. You are his master. You can influence his growth. This is a good karma." Yang Wu didn't quite understand, but he didn't care. He passed on what Little He had passed on to him to Xue Xiaofan. With his teachings, Xue Xiaofan would definitely be able to soar to the heavens. Xue Xiaofan's temperament was more tenacious. He was indeed more suitable for the path of weapon forging. He was destined to become a great weapon forger in the future. Yang Wu also met Barbarian Elephant, Barbarian Tiger, and Barbarian Bull. Their strength had increased very quickly. They had all reached the peak of the Minor Saint realm. Among them, Barbarian Elephant was infinitely close to becoming a half-saint. It would probably take him a few years to break through to the saint realm. The power that Mount Barbarian God had given them was no small matter. This time, Yang Wu planned to let them follow Little Man. Little Man was the best follower for them. Sure enough, after Lil Man met them, they felt a sense of closeness to him. Lil Man had the ability to tame beasts, and he also had the barbarian tribe's ancestral bloodline. He was the closest person to the beast. Yang Wu decided to bring Little Man to Sacred Flame Sect after the auction. He wanted to settle the matter of Little Man and Huang Fu Mingyu reuniting. With their relationship with Tuoba Fian, he believed that things would go smoothly. Next, Yang Wu began to think of ways to increase the strength of the people around him. This was an urgent matter. After the incident with Dragon Tiger Sect, he had to increase the strength of Qing Feng and White-Hair Demoness. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have the qualifications to protect him. In addition, Sun Do, Yang Ba, Su Chu, and the others also had to increase their strength. He had to help them grow quickly so that they could become good helpers in the future. Little He, teach me how to use the immortal dew. Yang Wu asked Little He. Chapter 1149. The fact that Yang Wu had the immortality peach tree in his body was a shocking fact. Back then, when Yang Wu found out from Little He that it was the immortality peach tree, he was scared out of his wit. He was afraid that he would be replaced by the immortality peach tree and turn into a treant. He had read some records that said that some monsters could refine heaven-shaking plants and fuse with them to fight. Just like him and the sacred mandala flower, when the two fused, they could even kill a peak saint if they were caught off guard. When the dragon and tiger sect was trying to kill them, he did think of using the sacred mandala flower to kill them. However, he realized that it was refining the peak demon saint's corpse and increasing its cultivation. If it was interrupted, it would suffer a great loss. Therefore, he decided to use the favor from the previous sect master of Wudong, Zhang Yun. He had returned Zhang En's corpse to Zhang Yun, which was a favor to Zhang Yun. Zhang Yun would always remember this favor in his heart. If he didn't use this favor, Zhang Yun would always remember it in his heart, which wasn't a good thing for Zhang Yun. Having worries could easily affect his state of mind when cultivating, so he used this favor to sever the karma between the two of them. After the bud of the immortal immortality peach tree grew in his dantian, it had continuously condensed into a dozen drops of immortal dew. These drops of immortal dew were mostly absorbed by the immortal immortality peach tree, while Yang Wu was refining various types of energy over the years. They contained extraordinary energy. Because of it, Gong Xilan was revived, the sacred mando flower was reborn, the dragon phoenix tree handed over the innate dragon phoenix sword, the 9 lotus divine throne regained its peak power, and even had a chance to improve further. All of these proved that the immortal nectar was extraordinarily valuable. Yang Wu wanted to use the immortal dew to improve the physiques of the people around him. It would definitely help them reach a higher level. Brat, do you know the value of the immortal dew? Even the dragon and phoenix tree needs it. Even the god-level experts here can't get it. How do you plan to use it? Little Hay said. The immortal dew is very valuable to them, but isn't it just a mouthwash in your eyes? Yang Wu smiled. Woof woof, it seems like you know something. You can use the immortal dew if you want. Are you going to use it for yourself or for others? Little Hay asked. For myself, and for others as well. If it's for you, there's no need to rush it. The effect will be better when you break through to the Star Rune realm. If it's for others, it's enough to dilute it. They're different from you. After diluting it, it's easy for them to break through to the Star Rune realm. Moreover, their physique will undergo a second round of marrow cleansing, and becoming a saint physique will be a cinch. Then how do we reconcile? I still have to prepare a few holy materials to make a large pot of substandard immortal liquid. Even for holy level creatures, it would be good stuff. Yang Wu and Little Hay conversed for a while, and from Little Hay, he learned how to concoct the diluted immortal elixir. He memorized all of it, and then checked the medicinal ingredients he had. He found that most of them were present, and only a few were missing. He went to look for Yang Jinghai to see if the Yang clan had any. Fortunately, these rare holy materials weren't particularly rare. The Yang clan did have a collection, and it was just enough to make up for everything Yang Wu needed. Yang Wu returned to the bamboo garden, and let Little Hay set up a large array here to isolate the aura of heaven and earth. This was to prevent the diluted immortal elixir from causing a commotion and alarming others. Little Wu learned this well. Little Hay took out the Shinong immortal cauldron, and controlled the many medicinal ingredients Yang Wu had collected to fly into the cauldron. Refine. Little Hay's soul power was everywhere, and thousands of medicinal ingredients fell into the cauldron. It spat out samadhi true fire, and when the true fire landed on the cauldron, thousands of different flames swept up, and the medicinal ingredients quickly withered. Bit by bit, the medicinal essences were refined. Yang Wu watched this scene, and his eyes almost popped out. He could control medicine with his soul, but Little Hay's level of refining medicine with a single flame was too far away. Little Hay's ability to control flames was incomparably precise. Under the envelopment of its divine consciousness, every single medicinal ingredient was completely branded into its soul. It could even control the intensity of thousands of flames to refine medicine. It was truly an uncanny divine ability. Refining medicine with a single flame, and refining all the medicinal ingredients in the blink of an eye. Who in the world could compare to this speed? Sacred scale stone refinement. Tribulation Fire Stone Refinement. Greenwood Stone Refinement. All kinds of holy stone ingredients were refined, and a pot of unique medicinal liquid condensed, exuding an indescribable fragrance. Prepare a pool of clear water. Little Hei's voice rang out. It's here. Yang Wuying shouted, drawing in the water of 10 directions. This water had been prepared long ago, and he'd used the power of a seal to bind it in the stone pool. Little Hei poured the pot of medicinal liquid directly into the stone pool. The pool instantly boiled, and waves of holy qi filled the air. A drop of immortal liquid, Little Hei said. Yang Wu didn't hesitate to toss a drop of immortal liquid into the clear water. Whoosh! When the immortal liquid fell into the pool, strands of immortal light flickered, and a dense holy aura enveloped every corner of the bamboo garden. The steward here, Yang Yun, was the first to benefit. He sat down cross-legged and furiously absorbed the holy aura here, and his strength continued to increase. Unfortunately, this aura was very short-lived, and was quickly concealed by some kind of power. Just what kind of amazing medicine did the young clan leader refine? Yang Yun wondered to himself. In an isolated place, Yang Wu looked at the diluted immortal liquid and said, "This is the immortal liquid after the diluted immortal liquid? Why do I still feel like it contains extraordinary power? Of course, this immortal liquid is very useful even to saints like you. It's enough for those little fellows by your side," Little Hei replied. Then Yang Wu's eyes shone with excitement as he asked, "Can I use it? You have immortal liquid yourself, so why use this inferior immortal liquid? You can use it for bathing." Little Hei looked at Yang Wu with disdain. "Haha, you're right. I'll take some out and use the rest for bathing. This immortal liquid can help your saint body reach a higher level, but it's best if you use it to bathe in heavenly lightning first. The effects will be even more obvious. I still have the dragon phoenix fruit. How can I use it better? I was planning to refine the divine dragon phoenix pill, but I feel like it's a bit of a waste." Nonsense. A divine-level dragon phoenix fruit can be used to refine the divine dragon phoenix pill. It's very useful to both humans and other races. Don't waste it. Then you'll help me refine it? You do it. Don't rely on me for everything. How did you refine 10,000 medicines with a single flame just now? You want to learn? Of course. Call me the Immortal Emperor. Scram. Little Hei was already qualified to be Yang Wu's master. Yang Wu could call it the Immortal Emperor, but for some reason, he just couldn't do it. He had some kind of connection with Little Hei, and he trusted Little Hei completely. He didn't think that Little Hei would turn on him. This was a very strange feeling. Yang Wu divided half of the second-grade immortal liquid, also known as the top-grade saint liquid, into countless portions. He planned to give a small portion to Yang Jinghai and let him bestow it to the sage elders and outstanding geniuses of the clan. This would help his prestige reach a higher level. He kept the other half for himself. He planned to nurture his own descendant. Before that, he planned to consume some second-grade immortal liquid. Perhaps it would help him reach a higher level. As an invincible emperor, he could enter the sacred transformation pool. It was a legendary holy land that could help people become saint. It could also help people reach the saint level. However, he wouldn't place all his hopes there. He already knew the whereabouts of the next type of profound essence qi. He had to increase his strength in advance. Only then would he have more confidence in obtaining the other type of profound essence qi. Yang Wu adjusted his state and drank a pot of second-grade immortal liquid. After drinking the immortal liquid, a great deal of power dissolved in his body. The true dragon in his dantian devoured the power frantically. The profound essence qi in his earth sea kept increasing at an astonishing rate. Yang Wu had already reached the peak late stage of the dragon transformation realm. After drinking the second-grade immortal liquid, he reached the peak of the dragon transformation realm and was moving toward perfection. Not only that, but his meridians, organs, and bones were all nourished by the immortal liquid. They became even tougher and more extraordinary. In addition, the divine court Dao flower also benefited. The 9 petals of the Dao flower were even more translucent. The battle skills, artistic conception, and martial arts imprinted in them were all improved to a higher level. His soul seemed to have been cleansed. It became extremely clear and his senses were clearer. It was as if all the obstacles that had existed before had been cleared at this moment. He had become a pure saint soul. In just one day, Yang Wu had completely reached the perfection of the dragon transformation realm. His soul had improved further. The harvest was too great. If it weren't for the influence of his Xian mantra, he would have become a saint. It's comparable to a top-grade saint liquid. It also contains traces of immortal power that can transform one's physique. I have the immortal body, so the effect is a bit weaker. If other living beings devoured this power, the transformation would be even greater. No wonder it could help great-grandmother come back to life. The sacred mandala flower and 9 lotus divine throne advanced so quickly. It's an immortal liquid. Yang Wu sighed. Then he said, the Supreme 9 Mysteries mantra has been activated to the limit. Although I can still absorb power, I can't break through. If I don't have another type of profound essence chi, I will be trapped in the dragon transformation realm for the rest of my life. It's really an immortal mantra with obvious advantages and disadvantages. Yang Wu withdrew his aura and stepped out of the restriction. He saw Yang Yun outside and said, Uncle Yun, this is for you. Yang Yun took the jade bottle and asked curiously, this is? Take it and go into seclusion. You will have unexpected gains. Yang Wu smiled. Great medicinal liquid. Yang Yun immediately guessed. He smiled with incomparable joy. Then he bowed to Yang Wu and said, Thank you, young clan leader. Yang Wu waved his hand indifferently as he stepped out of the bamboo courtyard and headed in a certain direction. I wonder how Lan Xin is doing. With these immortal elixirs, she'll be able to reach a higher level. I believe she'll be able to catch up very quickly. Chapter 1150. In the Yang family's sacred courtyard, there was a saint-grade array that isolated the area. It was also a forbidden area. Without the permission of a saint, the Yang family's disciples were not allowed to come close. In the past few years, the Yang family had been weak and lacked resources. Fewer and fewer people had become saint. In the past 1,000 years, only Yang Jinghai had become a saint. Many saints had been harmed by the Xing family, and some had died in the battle world. There weren't many saints left. Fortunately, Yang Wu had found Yang Taihe and paid a huge price to save him. He had also helped him recover to the 10th level of the astral rune realm, increasing the Yang family's foundation. There were also a few powerful saints in the battle world. The remaining ones stayed in the Yang family's sacred courtyard. They were usually in seclusion and rarely came out. Wan Lanxin had become a disciple of one of the Yang family's saints, Yang Liu. This old saint had been at the 5th level of the astral rune realm for thousands of years. It was more than enough for him to teach Wan Lanxin. After Yang Wu became a top alchemist, he gave the old saint a astral rune pill, which helped him break through to the 6th level of the astral rune realm and increase his lifespan. With this reason, the old saint did everything he could to teach Wan Lanxin. Wan Lanxin had always felt the gap between her and Yang Wu. After receiving guidance from a saint, she cultivated very hard and her strength increased rapidly. Wan Lanxin had long been Yang Wu's woman. Yang Wu had given her many body-tempering elixirs. Her constitution had improved a lot, and her talent was comparable to the geniuses of the transcendent realm. After 3 years of cultivation, Wan Lanxin went from the high level of the Earth-Sea realm to the mid-level of the Skyfish realm. She was only around 30 years old. At this level, she could stand shoulder to shoulder with the geniuses of the transcendent realm. However, she still felt that it wasn't enough. She was improving, and so was Yang Wu. She had to work harder. Lon Xin, you must remember not to be impatient when cultivating. Impatience can easily lead to problems. Progressing step by step is the only way to increase your cultivation level. Yang Liuyu instructed Wan Lanxin. After pausing for a moment, he continued, Young clan leader is back. Why don't you go and see him? Only then will you be able to calm down. In front of the waterfall, a valiant young woman was holding a war spear and attacking back and forth. The waterfall that was rushing towards her was pierced by her spear, and it was quite powerful. Droplets of water fell on her body, adding a touch of moving color to her. She put away her spear and smiled. Master, I feel that I should work hard to break through while I'm still young and break through at the fastest speed. It's not bad to fight steadily, but my progress is limited in this lifetime. I don't want to be like Master and be stuck in the Star Vein realm for the rest of my life. Very well. You actually dare to look down on Master? Do you believe that I will double your training? Yang Liuyu said, blowing his beard. Master, don't be angry. You are already very powerful, but I want to surpass you. In the future, won't you also have some face? Wan Lanxin laughed, and then she said, I went to see Marshall, and I didn't even know how to find him when I came back. I'm so angry. Hee, aren't I here now? A gentle laugh rang out. Marshall. Wan Lanxin saw Yang Wu walking over and cried out in alarm, pouncing towards Yang Wu. Yang Wu opened his arms and hugged Wan Lanxin. This infatuated woman was worthy of his care. His feelings for Ziyu and Wan Lanxin were incomparably pure. They had feelings for each other since they were young, and it was not something that others could understand. I'm old. Yang Liuyu muttered before disappearing from sight. Xin, your progress is really fast. Yang Wu hugged Wan Lanxin and caressed her hair. You have already become an invincible emperor. I haven't even reached the dragon transformation realm. I'm far inferior to you. Wan Lanxin replied. Haha, how many geniuses do you think there are like your husband? Yang Wu laughed with incomparable happiness. That's true. You are unique. Wan Lanxin said gently. She thought to herself, it's so comfortable to lean on him like this. I really don't want him to leave me. Yang Wu and Wan Lanxin were affectionate for a while, and then they talked about how Little Man had already arrived at the Yang family. Wan Lanxin couldn't wait to see the Little Man. Back then, after Yang Wu saved the Little Man, he handed the Little Man over to Wan Lanxin, got rid of his identity as a prison slave, and went to the army together. The two of them formed a friendship of sisters. Don't be anxious. Aren't you anxious to increase your strength? I've prepared some immortal liquid for you to help you increase your strength. After you increase your strength, it won't be too late to see the Little Man, Yang Wu said as he took out the second-grade immortal liquid. Okay. Wan Lanxin replied straightforwardly. She took the immortal liquid from Yang Wu and consumed it, quickly increasing her strength. Yang Wu took the opportunity to chat with Yang Liuyu. Yang Liuyu seemed to know that Yang Wu was coming, and had already brewed tea and waited. He looked at Yang Wu and smiled. Young clan leader, you have greatly increased the face of our Yang family. The first invincible emperor of the human race in 10,000 years is of great significance. You flatter me, Yang Wu replied. He paused for a moment and said, Many thanks to Sage Elder for teaching Lanxin. She has improved very quickly. No need to be so polite. Lanxin is full of spirit qi, and her comprehension is also not bad. As long as she works hard, reaching the Star Rune realm won't be a problem. And with you as her husband, she will definitely be more outstanding than me. She will definitely be more outstanding than you. Brat, why are you the same as her? You love to attack this old man. Haha, I'm just joking. I've come to give you a gift. Yang Wu gave another second-grade immortal liquid to Yang Liu. This immortal liquid might not be able to help Yang Liuyu directly break through, but it could strengthen his saint body, which would be of great benefit to him in the future. Yang Liu felt ashamed to accept Yang Wu's gift. Last time, Yang Wu gave him a saint pill, and this time, he gave him a top-grade immortal liquid. However, he didn't give anything to Yang Wu. He could only do his best to teach Wan Lanxin to repay him. Wan Lanxin spent 7 days and 7 nights refining the immortal liquid. She broke through to the peak of the heavenly fish realm in one go. The speed of her improvement shocked even Yang Liu. Using the second-grade immortal liquid to break through wouldn't affect one's foundation too much. Wan Lanxin jumped 2 levels and was infinitely close to the dragon transformation realm. She couldn't hide the joy in her heart. She discovered that her physique had improved a lot. It was probably not inferior to the physique of a small saint. Her temperament had also changed a lot. Her skin was more delicate and white than before, and her temperament had improved a few levels. This kind of change would make any woman happy. Wan Lanxin condensed a water mirror and looked at herself. She couldn't help but touch her face and say to herself, I've become more beautiful. In the mortal world, Wan Lanxin was a rare beauty. She had her own temperament. No matter where she went, she would attract the attention of men. However, in the transcendent realm, there were many beauties. They were all extraordinary and had outstanding temperament. Her beauty could only be considered average. Yang Wu didn't mind continuing to be with her. She was very grateful, so she had been cultivating with all her might. She hoped that one day she could help Yang Wu. That way, her heart would feel better. Now, she had consumed the second-grade immortal liquid. Her skin had become better, her temperament had improved, and her appearance had changed. She could be considered a top beauty in the transcendent realm. Her mood was even better. Which woman didn't want to be beautiful? Yang Wu saw Wan Lanxin's changes and was very happy. As expected of the immortal liquid. Even if he waited again, the power it contained was incomparable to ordinary immortal liquid. Yang Wu took Wan Lanxin to see the little man. The little man saw Wan Lanxin again. The 2 girls were very happy. They chatted nonstop as if they had endless things to say. Yang Wu left them alone and went to see Yang Jinghai again. He handed the second-grade immortal liquid to him and let him distribute it. Yang Jinghai had long regarded Yang Wu as an equal. He hadn't helped Yang Wu too much. Instead, it was Yang Wu who had been helping the family. As the patriarch, he felt a little guilty. Now, Yang Jinghai's strength had reached the 2nd level of the Star Rune realm. This was under the condition that he didn't take the Star Rune pill. This talent wasn't weak. Before this, he had been stuck in the half-step sage realm. Now that he had broken through, he could continue to improve. He was once a genius ranked in the top 1,000 on the Heavenly Dragon list. He wasn't an ordinary person. When Yang Jinghai received Yang Wu's second-grade immortal liquid and heard Yang Wu talk about its effects, he was shocked. The value of this second-grade immortal liquid was above their ancestral blood pool. Yang Wu told Yang Jinghai about the auction. He asked Yang Jinghai to make preparations as soon as possible. He chose to go into seclusion to refine pills. Before he went into seclusion, he gave a portion of the second-grade immortal liquid to those closest to him. He didn't want to treat them unfairly. At this moment, he thought of the proud Sword 5 heroes. It would be great if they were here. If he gave them the second-grade immortal liquid, they would be able to improve quickly. Yang Wu came to the place where he refined pills. This place was specially reserved for him by the Yang family. Dan Long was called over by him. Now, Dan Long's strength had reached the pinnacle of the minor saint realm. He wasn't too far away from the Star Rune realm. He could already refine a 3rd tribulation minor saint pill. He could be considered a pinnacle minor saint alchemist. All of this was thanks to Yang Wu's guidance. Otherwise, he wouldn't have improved so quickly. This time, I'm going to help you become a saint alchemist. Are you confident? Yang Wu said to Dan Long with certainty. Dan Long knelt down in front of Yang Wu and said seriously, "Thank you, young patriarch. Dan Long will do his best to improve. I won't disappoint young patriarch's expectations. This lightning-absorbing puppet is for you. For the next few days, follow me to refine pills. I'll give you some pointers." Yang Wu waved his hand and gave a pinnacle lightning-absorbing puppet to Dan Long. This was one of the rewards given to him by the Duan Ren City Lord. He couldn't use it, so it was best to give it to Dan Long. Dan Long was overjoyed. With this puppet, he wouldn't be afraid of attracting the Saint Lightning. After all, his physique was ordinary. Before he became a saint, he didn't have the confidence to withstand the Saint Lightning. Let's begin. Chapter 1151. Rumble, rumble. Bolts of heavenly lightning continuously struck down like dragons and snakes, their power incomparably terrifying. Ordinary saint-level lifeforms would be turned into dust. Even mid-level saint-level lifeforms might not be able to withstand it. When high-grade heavenly lightning such as golden snake lightning and purple cloud lightning struck down, even top-level saint-level lifeforms wouldn't be able to withstand it. There was a youth who kept swinging his fist against the heavenly lightning. Punch after punch, it was as if he was reversing the sun and moon. His strength was ridiculously powerful. The heavenly lightning was actually shattered by him. Some of the heavenly lightning struck his body, but it wasn't able to kill him directly. It only injured him, but it wasn't fatal. The youth relied on his physical body to withstand 3 waves of heavenly lightning. Not many people in the transcendent world could do this. After the heavenly lightning passed, countless lightning flames were absorbed and refined by the youth. The youth's flesh rapidly grew and recovered. Soon, his physical body recovered quite a bit. Immediately after, a pool of water appeared nearby. The young man jumped directly into the pool. Strands of astonishing power from the immortal liquid seeped into his flesh, nourishing every part of his skin, flesh, and meridians, causing his body to become even more freakishly powerful. If others knew that this pool of water was enough to cleanse the marrow and open the meridians of saint-level lifeforms, who knew how many lifeforms would come to snatch it? This youth was extravagantly using the pool water to bathe. It really made people go crazy with jealousy. Not far from the youth, there was a middle-aged man who had been watching this scene. He was prostrating himself in admiration. The youth had given him a bottle of second-grade immortal liquid. After refining it, he directly reached the half-step saint level. If it wasn't for his weak foundation, he could have entered the first-level celestial rune realm. However, he wasn't in a hurry. He felt that he could soon comprehend the heaven and earth and draw upon the power of the stars to break through to the celestial rune realm. The youth's promise to help him become a saint alchemist wasn't false. Young Patriarch is truly the destined son of heaven. He will definitely become an invincible overlord in the future. The middle-aged man said with certainty in his heart. The youth was Yang Wu. He had been refining pills with Danlong for a month. During this month, he had refined many batches of heavenly pills. Each batch could refine about 20 pills, which was a lot more than before. Basically, all the pills he refined would attract the third tribulation Holy Thunder. Only a few batches of pills attracted the second tribulation Holy Thunder, and that was when he was distracted to guide Dan Long. After each thunder tribulation, Yang Wu would jump into the stone pool and soak in the immortal liquid. Now, his physical strength had improved a lot and reached the peak of the intermediate saint stage. With the strength of his physical body, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage even if he fought with an intermediate saint stage creature. While his holy body was becoming stronger, all his talent powers were also increasing, including the soul eye and the ice wing blade. They had both entered the second stage of advancement. After entering the second stage, the power of his innate talent would become even stronger. With the power of his soul eye, it would be easy for him to insta-kill ordinary saint-level creatures. Meanwhile, the Icewing Blade was comparable to a mid-level sacred weapon, and its destructive power was even stronger. The Barbarian God's arm and Wind God's leg were both improving. When fighting against other creatures, the power they could unleash would be even greater. It could be said that Yang Wu's strength had reached the limit of the little saint realm. In the transcendent world, it would be difficult to find another little saint that could compare to him. Even Jin Qiu couldn't compare to Yang Wu. Jin Qiu should be a reincarnator and had a great opportunity on him. However, he wouldn't be as extravagant as Yang Wu to soak in the second-grade immortal liquid. These second-grade immortal liquids aren't of much use to me. They are too thin and weak. If I compress the concentration, I might be able to refine a high-grade holy body, or even a top-grade holy body. Yang Wu clenched his fist and said with satisfaction. Suddenly, a wave of extremely terrifying heavenly lightning fell from the sky. It started with the golden snake lightning. There were a total of 81 lightning bolts, as if the end of the world had arrived. It was extremely frightening. The Yang family was completely frightened. Gong Xilan was the first to be alarmed. She immediately used her ability to isolate the turbulent power of the heavenly lightning to prevent the sound of the heavenly lightning from hurting the weak juniors of the Yang family. This is God-level heavenly lightning, Gong Xilan exclaimed. Only God-level heavenly lightning could cause such a commotion and make her feel threatened. Could it be that Wu has become a divine alchemist? Gong Xilan couldn't believe that Yang Wu would become a divine alchemist. No matter how monstrous he was, he wouldn't be monstrous to such an extent. But where did these divine lightning bolts come from? The next wave of purple cloud thunder was even more terrifying. There were a total of 108 lightning bolts. Each lightning bolt was filled with the power to destroy the heavens and the earth. The entire Yang family's territory seemed to have exploded. Even Gong Xilan's power couldn't block it. She had no choice but to increase her power to block it. Otherwise, many people of the Yang family would die. This power is too terrifying, Gong Xilan said with fear and trepidation. She borrowed Yang Wu's immortal liquid to come back from the dead. Moreover, she had entered the second-level Jade Moon realm. Her strength was already very strong, but she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to block this divine lightning. Fortunately, the divine lightning came quickly and left quickly. Otherwise, she wouldn't know what to do. After the divine lightning ended, she impatiently rushed towards Yang Wu's position. Yang Wu and Dan Long were also scared silly. Just now, the two waves of divine lightning were near them. They felt that they would be drowned out by the power of the divine lightning. Their minds were blank. Fortunately, these divine lightning bolts weren't aimed at them. When the divine lightning disappeared, their ears were in pain, especially Dan Long, who had already fainted from the shock. Wu, are you all right? Gong Xilan came to Yang Wu's side and asked as she looked at the stupefied Yang Wu. She placed a hand on Yang Wu's body, and a gentle power comforted his soul. Only then did he come back to his senses. Grandmother. What's going on? Why did the divine lightning descend? Gong Xilan asked. She was sure that it wasn't because Yang Wu was refining a divine pill, but other than Yang Wu, who else had such an ability? Yang Wu adjusted his breathing and said, Grandmother, don't worry. It's the divine alchemist who taught me refining the divine pill. He doesn't want others to know of his existence. Please forgive me, Grandmother. Could it be that he was the one who taught you the art of alchemy? Gong Xilan asked in surprise. She already believed 70% of Yang Wu's words. Yang Wu was so young, yet he had already become a top-notch saint alchemist. If he didn't have the guidance of an expert, she wouldn't believe it. She suspected that a certain divine alchemist of the heavenly palace was still alive. Yang Wu nodded his head lightly, then said, Grandmother, you don't have to ask about this, I know what to do. Next time, tell him not to refine divine pills here, it's too scary. After pausing for a moment, he said, Spread the news that we will also be auctioning divine pills this time, attracting some Jade Moon Realm experts to come and auction. All right, Grandmother will do it right away, Gong Xilan said with incomparable excitement. With the divine pill, this auction would be incomparably grand. It was likely that even the big powers would participate. However, the Yang clan would definitely first notify their allies, such as the Sun clan, the Heng Mountain sect, and other powers. After Gong Xilan left, Yang Wu couldn't help but roar in Little Hei's direction. Little Hei, why didn't you tell me you were going to refine divine pills? Are you trying to blow me up? Who else could refine divine pills here besides Little Hei? Previously, in the Flood Dragon Palace, Little Hei had chosen 10 divine medicines for Yang Wu, all of which had been kept by it. Yang Wu also had the Dragon Phoenix fruit, so it couldn't be eaten directly. Only by refining the Dragon Phoenix divine pill could it be used to its full potential. Yang Wu had told Little Hei to refine a cauldron of Dragon Phoenix divine pills when she had the time. Firstly, it could be used for Gong Xilan's consumption, and secondly, it could be auctioned off at the auction, wildly increasing the Yang clan's income and increasing their foundation. Who would have thought that Little Hei would refine it as soon as she said so, and even attract divine lightning when they weren't on guard? It was truly frightening. The difference between the holy lightning and the divine lightning was huge. Just now, Yang Wu had seen that the divine lightning seemed to contain the power of dragons and phoenixes. Its destructive power was truly unstoppable. Little Hei's fur was all charred black. It ran over and barked, "Woof, woof, what's there to be afraid of in a mere divine lightning? With this little bit of willpower, how can you compare to the various deities in the future?" "What deities? I'm afraid that I'll be killed by you before I can even become a saint." Yang Wu rolled his eyes. Then, he asked, "Are the Dragon Phoenix divine pills done? When this celestial emperor makes a move, naturally, I won't fail. If it weren't for the fact that there were a little less divine medicine, it would definitely have become a third tribulation divine pill. Now that it's only a second tribulation divine pill, it's enough for you to use." Little Hei spat out 12 sparkling and translucent divine pills as it spoke. Yang Wu couldn't wait to take them in his hands. Waves of fragrance filled the air, and he could faintly hear the cries of dragons and phoenixes. It was truly incomparably magical. A second tribulation divine pill contained astonishing divine power. Every single one of them was priceless. It wasn't something that ordinary people could buy. Most of the divine apothecaries in the transcendent realm could only refine tribulation divine pills, which were the lowest grade of divine pills. Powerful divine apothecaries could refine first tribulation divine pills, and only the most powerful divine apothecaries could refine second tribulation divine pills. Little Hei's alchemy skills were enough to crush 99% of the alchemists in the transcendent realm. He didn't know if the 3 alliance leaders of the Apothecary Alliance had this ability. Yang Wu looked at the Dragon Phoenix divine pills, and he couldn't help but have the urge to swallow them. The divine energy was too rich. Fortunately, he wasn't so impulsive. If he really swallowed them, he was afraid that he would explode from the overbearing medicinal power and die. "Many thanks, Little Hei." Yang Wu put away the pills and said with incomparable gratitude. Refining divine pills was very easy for Little Hei, but it was very important to the current Yang clan. Whether the Yang clan could rise quickly or not depended on this. With Yang Wu's reputation as a peak-level divine apothecary, many rogue cultivators had already rushed to the Yang clan, hoping to join the Yang clan and become their consecrators. There was no lack of celestial rune realm experts, but most of them were elementary saints. To the Yang clan, it was far from enough. It would be best if mid-grade or even high-grade saints came to join them. Only then would they be able to strengthen the Yang clan's foundation in a short period of time. With the rallying power of the divine pills, even demigod realm old monsters would be attracted. Alright, stop being mushy. Let's quickly settle these trivial matters. Finding the profound essence chi is the most important thing, Little Hei said indifferently.